What? Stop this madness.
Wait, that's happening now? West Virginia Wire, Regina reacts. Hey everybody, welcome to West Virginia Wire. My name is Regina Connell. You guys, we are streaming across YouTube, Rumble, and the X platform, formerly known as Twitter. We thank you guys for joining us. Let me check my settings, make sure I'm good to go. And we are good to go. You guys, the water guy is outside, the water company. We have had a leak. Our water bill has been extremely outrageous. And our electric bill is going down. So I'm happy to report that. Big Russ just reported that to me today. So the purpose of today's live is just to catch up the other platforms, Rumble, X, and other platforms. I'm working on reconnecting Facebook. I believe my account has been suspended for whatever reason. I normally don't even really post on there. All right, you guys, without further ado, let's jump in and get this party started.
Legend. They say the real recognize this might take a second. I feel niggas vulnerable, it's like they ain't protected. Yeah, hate your style and jot it down, so I can't respect it. It's just me trying to bridge to get that part I don't connect with. I mean, that's word up to my right on that internet shit. Information the devil let me get into that shit.
Let's dive into today's topics.
Let's do, my ladies. So you guys, we got a lot to cover today. I wasn't gonna do anything. I've been kind of feeling a little under the weather, but that's okay because our Trinont products are in the process of coming. If you guys stay through this video, we'll tell you more about that. It is our sponsor, so we are thanking our sponsor in advance before we jump in. You guys, if you are returning, you know what to do. Get the biz out the way. Go ahead and smash that like, share, and subscribe, and go ahead and start and get the conversation started. I've heard that the commenting, liking, and all of that helps trigger the algorithm. And what's the most important thing, Mary Beth?
The most important thing is to engage with us. We love hearing your thoughts and questions, so feel free to drop them in the comments. All right, Regina, where are we starting?
All right, so we are starting with the meeting in the Oval Office with President Bukele and President Trump. So you want to set that up for us, my lady?
Absolutely. President Bukele recently met with President Trump in the Oval Office. The meeting covered several topics, including bilateral relations and economic cooperation. There was also some buzz around the questions asked during the press briefing. What's your take on it, Regina?
Well, why don't we go ahead and watch it with our viewers? We've already seen it once, but I'm going to hold my commentary because I know our viewers are dying to get into this. And the reason we're reporting this, I had released it as shorts, really, and I wasn't going to report on it. And now that this Maryland senator is claiming that he's going to travel to El Salvador if President Bukele will not meet with him here in the United States while he's on his visit. Let's jump in. Are we jumping in face first or feet first?
Let's jump in feet first. Ready when you are.
Let's do it.
To ask President Bukele to help return the man who your administration says was mistakenly deported. The man who was mistakenly deported to El Salvador.
Well, let me ask Pam, would you answer that question?
Sure, President. First and foremost, he was illegally in our country. He had been illegally in our country. And in 2019, two courts, an immigration court and an appellate immigration court, ruled that he was a member of MS-13 and he was illegally in our country. Right now, it was additional paperwork had needed to be done. That's up to El Salvador if they want to return him. That's not up to us.
All right, let's pause it right there. So let's take all that in and say it's not up to us. It's up to El Salvador. And they're about to explain it. Pam Bondi will explain first. Then the gentleman behind her will explain again. And then Senator Marco Rubio will explain again. And then finally, we're going to get to President Bukele and hear what he has to say. So I can't believe this is even being drug out further. And I'm really disappointed in the mainstream media. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at this guy's record too. We're not just going to take their word for it. We're going to look and see what we have. What do you think, my lady?
Get down and see what's really going on.
Yeah, I agree. Let's break it down and see what's really good.
Any affiliation, and a federal judge called his deportation wholly lawless.
So when he originally in 2019 received that deportation, what was it for? So the Biden administration came in and revoked that, right?
Yes, the Biden administration reversed many Trump-era immigration policies. In Garcia's case, the controversy revolves around the legality and justification of his deportation, especially since a court had previously ruled in his favor due to threats from MS-13.
Which court ruled in his favor and what year?
A federal judge in the Ninth Circuit ruled in Garcia's favor in 2019, blocking his deportation due to threats from MS-13.
So that was under Trump's administration. What changed?
Under the Trump administration, despite the court ruling, Garcia was deported. The Biden administration's changes in immigration policy generally aimed to offer more protections and review deportation cases. In Garcia's case, the focus is on whether he was given fair legal process.
Okay. I don't care about all that because he's not a citizen of the United States, so there's nothing fair. He didn't come here the right way, so there's no fairness involved for him. He's not a citizen of the United States. He needs to seek fairness in his own home country, which would be El Salvador. I don't know of any country that's going to take him, right? And why is he so scared of MS-13 supposedly? El Salvador is now the safest country when it was the murder capital of the world. So why would this man fear his home country so badly? Was he an informant? Did he used to be a part of MS-13? Because I believe that there's photographs of him with the MS-13 gangs and tattoos and all of that. Is there not?
There are reports and photos showing alleged gang affiliations, but he denies being a member. Some claim he provided information to authorities, but there's no clear confirmation. The fear of returning could stem from past ties or threats from gang members who view former associates or informants as targets.
All right, let's finish watching this.
Supreme Court ruled, President, that if, as El Salvador wants to return, and this is international matters, foreign affairs, if they wanted to return him, we would facilitate it, meaning provide a plane.
So if President Bukele wanted to return his own citizen, then we would provide the vessel for the transportation, is what Attorney General Bondi is saying.
You are doing a great job. Thank you. If you just can also respond to that question, because it's asked by CNN and they always ask it with a slant because they're totally slanted because they don't know what's happening. That's why nobody's watching them. But would you answer that question also?
Yes, gladly. So as Pam mentioned, there's an illegal alien from El Salvador. So with respect to you, he's a citizen of El Salvador. So it's very arrogant even for American media to suggest that we would even tell El Salvador how to handle their own.
Thank you. The hubris of that. They are a sovereign country, and the hubris of coming in and telling them what to do with their own citizens.
Citizens as a starting point. As 2 immigration courts found that he was a member of MS-13. When President Trump declared MS-13 to be a foreign terrorist organization, that meant that he was no longer eligible under federal law, which I'm sure you know, you're very familiar with the INA, that he was no longer eligible for any form of immigration relief in the United States. So he had a deportation order that was valid, which meant that under our law, he's not even allowed to be present in the United States and had to be returned because of the foreign terrorist designation. This issue was then, by a district court judge, completely inverted, and a district court judge tried to tell the administration that they had to kidnap a citizen of El Salvador and fly him back here. That issue was raised to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said the district court order was unlawful, and its main components were reversed 9-0 unanimously, stating clearly that neither Secretary of State nor the president could be compelled by anybody to forcibly retrieve a citizen of El Salvador from El Salvador, who again is a member of MS-13, which, as I'm sure you understand, rapes little girls, murders women, murders children, is engaged in the most barbaric activities in the world. And I can promise you, if he was your neighbor, you would move right away.
So you don't plan
But
to
the
ask for
Supreme
any
Court's
help to do
asking
that?
to,
Is that?
In the Supreme Court, Steve, was it 9-0?
Yes, it was a 9-0
In our favor.
in our favor against the district court ruling, saying that no district court has the power to compel the foreign policy function of the United States. As Pam said, the ruling solely stated that if this individual at El Salvador's sole discretion was sent back to our country, that we could deport him a second time.
Well,
No version of this legally ends up with him ever living here because he is a citizen of El Salvador. That is the president of El Salvador. Your questions about it per the court can only be directed to him.
I asked.
¿Se lo liberaría, Presidente
What is-
Bukele?
Can President Bukele weigh in on this? Do you plan to return him?
Well, I'm also not suggesting that I smuggle a terrorist into the United States, right?
They told us
How can I smuggle, how can I return him to the United States? Like, I smuggle him to the United States, or what do I do? Of course, I'm not going to do it.
And I just wanted to add a commentary. I don't know if you guys ever watched Lefties Losing It with Rita Panahi, and she has Kosha Gata on there a lot, and Kosha is amazing. So what Kosha said about Caitlin Collins was, she was like, she reminded me of a robot that the software update was just not happening like it should, and because she just kept, in that same monotone voice, saying the same thing, asking the same question. Anyway, let's continue on.
It's like, the question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States.
listen.
You're releasing inside El Salvador. Yeah, but I'm not releasing. I mean, we're not very fond of releasing terrorists into our country. I mean, we just turned the murder capital of the world into the safest country of the Western Hemisphere, and you want us to go back into the releasing criminals so we can go back to being the murder capital of the world? No, that's not going to happen.
Well, they'd love to have a criminal, released into our country.
That's a fascinating.
They would love it.
Yeah.
They're sick. These are sick people. Mark, do you have something to say about
Yeah, I mean, Stephen outlined it. I don't understand what the confusion is. This individual is a citizen of El Salvador. He was illegally in the United States and was returned to his country. That's where you deport people back to their country of origin, except for Venezuela that wasn't refusing to take people back, or places like that. I can tell you this, Mr. President. No, the foreign policy of the United States is conducted by the President of the United States, not by a court. And no court in the United States has a right to conduct the foreign policy of the United States. It's that simple. End of story.
And that's what the Supreme Court held, by the way. That's Marco's point. The Supreme Court said exactly what Marco said, that no court has the authority to compel the foreign policy function of the United States. We want a case.
No court has the authority. Let's play that one more time, you guys.
Not by a court. And no court in the United States has a right to conduct the foreign policy of the United States. It's that simple. End of story.
And that's what the Supreme Court held, by the way. That's Marco's point. The Supreme Court said exactly what Marco said, that no court has the authority to compel the foreign policy function of the United States. We won a case 9-0, and people like CNN are portraying it as a loss, as usual, because they want foreign terrorists in the country who kidnap women and children. But President Trump, his policy is foreign terrorists that are here illegally get expelled from the country, which, by the way, is a 90-10 issue.
Well, Mr. President, you said that if the Supreme Court said someone needed to be returned, that you would abide by that. You said that on Air Force One just a few days ago. And they said that.
That's a valid point. Media coverage can vary widely depending on the context. Investigating who's funding or driving the narrative might reveal more. It's essential to get multiple perspectives to form a balanced view.
I agree, but they refuse to allow that to happen. So whatever. So we're going to jump into this clip, and then I'm going to close this out so we can get this edited up and shot straight out to you guys for your viewing displeasure on this situation.
I saw the comments of President Bukele, and I look forward to meeting with him. I've requested to meet with him. I reached out to the ambassador here to ask to meet while he's here. But I've also made clear if we can't meet here, I do intend to go to El Salvador to discuss the reliefs of this individual who would.
So you're going to go all the way to El Salvador for someone who's not an American citizen. Why wasn't he made an American citizen? What was the holdup? Who are you going to blame for that one? This makes no sense.
Was illegally detained.
What?
A Maryland man who's
Stop this
the father
madness.
of 3 in a notorious prison in El Salvador. And I believe the president of El Salvador will recognize why it's important to allow him to return to the United States of America, because it is absolutely unjust and illegal to have this Marylander detained one more day in a notorious prison in El Salvador. Of course, President Trump could have just said, bring him home. Of course, he could have done that. But this is an administration that has lied about Mr. Brago Garcia, right?
What motivation does the administration have to lie about one man? Like randomly, they just plucked him out of Maryland and decided, okay, we're just going to focus in on him. I'm not sure about that. What do you guys think? Let me know.
Vice President of the United States tweeted out that he had a criminal record. That was a lie. They're just lying. They've gotten caught lying. They don't want to admit it. And they have an obligation to bring him home. But I will say the president of El Salvador should not now take it upon himself to say that he is detaining him for one day.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's watch a little bit of this.
Yeah, we got a variety of things I'd like to go through. But first, Mr. Lynch complained about Mr. Galanis testifying from prison. So I'd like to ask unanimous consent to enter into the record the Department of Justice's own press release announcing the sentencing of the Democrats' witness, Lev Parnas, to 20 months in prison for, among other things, making false statements.
Without objection on Donald Trump's partner.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Chairman, we had originally hoped.
All right, everybody, before we continue, and I was going to do this faceless, look at me. Before we continue on, I just wanted to remind you guys, these are all pre-records. I'm testing some things out as we move forward in our little channel. You guys, I thank you for joining. We are streaming live across West Virginia Wire YouTube channel. We are also streaming across Queen Connell 16 on the X platform, as well as the Rumble platform. I feel like I'm blowing my microphone out. Give me one moment to fix this. Anyway, let me back it up. Anyway, so yes, the water guy is here, and we have a slow water leak that we desperately need to find. Our water bill has been a little bit out of control. And again, I did report that Big Russ said that our electric bill is coming down. All right, guys, let's continue on without further ado. I hope you are enjoying all of this, and we will come right back to you. The next video that we're going to be playing is, I'm going to catch you guys up on my latest release. Regina Reacts Families Can Be Deported Together. The Tom Holman press briefing that was held, on Monday, I think. Anyway, let's continue on, guys.
Hoped that we'd see a few more witnesses here today. This tape could.
I remember going over convincing our team, our others, to convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to the press conference. I said, "No," I said, "I'm not going to, or we're not going to give you the $1 billion." They said, "You have no authority. You're not the president." The president said. I said, "Call him." I said, "I'm telling you, you're not getting $1 billion." I said, "You're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be." "You're not the president." The president said. I said, "Call him." I said, "I'm telling you, you're not getting $1 billion." I said, "You're not getting $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here." And I think it was 6 hours. I said, "I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money." Oh, son of a bitch. Got fired. And they put in place someone who.
Wow. Wow.
I just wanted to put that up there because I do eventually want further efforts made to get Hunter Biden or Mr. Archer here, because we have Joe Biden himself bragging that they got rid of a prosecutor who would have provided his sons.
Right. So if we go back to this news thing right here, right, and I really want you to pay attention to what this man was saying, right? Listen up.
Comments of President Bukele, and I look forward to meeting with them. I've requested to meet with them. I reached out to the ambassador here to ask to meet while he's here. But I've also made clear if we can't meet here, I do intend to go to El Salvador to discuss the release of this individual who is illegally detained, a Maryland man who's the father of 3 in a notorious prison in El Salvador. And I believe the president of El Salvador will recognize why it's important to allow him to return to the United States of America, because
Okay, listen to this. I think the president of El Salvador will recognize why it's important to return him to the United States. This is important. Listen up.
allow him to return to the United States of America, because it is absolutely unjust and illegal to have this Marylander detained one more day in a notorious prison in El Salvador. Of course, President Trump could have just said, bring him home. Of course, he could have done that. But this is an administration that has lied about Mr. Brago Garcia, right? The vice president of the United States tweeted out that he had a criminal record. That was a lie. They're just lying. They've gotten caught lying. They don't want to admit it. And they have an obligation to bring him home. But I will say the president of El Salvador should not now take it upon himself to say that he is detaining him for one more day, because that is kidnapping. I understand that the attorney general said that we would provide a plane to bring him home.
Did he just accuse the El Salvadoran president of kidnapping his own citizen?
To bring him home. So all the president of El Salvador has to do now is hand over and release an innocent man and let him come home to his family.
Or what? Or what, sir? What the hell are you going to do? All right. That's all I got today, y'all.
Are you ready to take control of your health and wellness? Introducing Tranont Health Products, a premium line of nutrition and wellness supplements designed to support your body's natural balance. From essential vitamins and minerals to advanced detox formulas, Tramont's products are crafted with the highest quality ingredients to help you feel your best every day. Whether you're looking to boost energy, improve digestion, or support immune health, Tranont has something for everyone. Take the first step.
All right, guys. So we are going to move right on to
This might take a second. I feel niggas vulnerable, it's like they ain't
Sorry, I
protected.
messed up my banners, guys.
Jotted down, and so I can't respect it. It's just me trying to bridge
All right, you
the gap,
guys,
that
we're
part I
moving on
don't
to
connect
the
with.
next
I mean, that's word
content
up
I've
to my
got
right
for
on the
you,
set,
and this
shit.
is Regina
Information,
React
the double
Family
left hook
and
to
Be
get
Deported
into that
together
shit.
by
Mr.
Tom
Thermometer,
Holman,
with the check
the
your
Tom Holman
temperature,
press
bitch. Who
briefing.
gon' follow one? They say they try to
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Thank you guys for tuning in.
Of course there is. Families can be deported together.
Why should a child who is an American citizen have to pack up and move to a country that they don't know?
Because their parent obviously entered the country illegally, had a child knowing he was in the country illegally. So he created it. Last year, 184,000 illegal aliens were released into the United States. Under this administration, 9. 4 of them were material witnesses in a criminal investigation. We need them here to testify in a serious criminal trial. 4 was extreme medical condition. We couldn't return them because they were in such bad shape. And 1 was a humanitarian issue. This is unprecedented. There is no equal, it's not even close. So God bless the men and women of the Border Patrol. God bless the men and women of ICE who strap a gun to the hip every day, put on a Kevlar vest to not only secure our border and protect our national security, but the ICE agents in the interior, they're removing public safety threats and national security threats every day. While you're all sleeping at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, there are men and women out there enforcing the law, making this country safe again. And we're going to keep doing it. Full speed ahead.
rise and shine. It's a brand new day. Got the world on my mind. Ain't no time to play. Chasing
Wait,
dreams,
that's happening
running
now?
fast, feeling
West
no
Virginia
delay.
Wire, Regina reacts.
We're the watchdogs.
All right,
Always watching
everybody,
what
welcome
they
back
say.
to West Virginia Wire. My name is Regina Connell, and if you saw up on the screen, the thumbnail is families can be deported together. That's what we're going to be diving in today, jumping in feet
Caroline
first. All right, guys, before we jump in feet first into this presser with Caroline Levitt and Tom Holman, we're going to take a trip back in time before the election, just before the election, where Tom Holman gave an interview to 60 Minutes. And at that time, he was the acting border czar. All right, guys, let's jump into this.
But listen to this. Homan had this to say to 60 Minutes just days before Donald Trump won the election.
I hear a lot of people say, the talk of a mass deportation is racist. It's threatening to the immigrant community. It's not threatening to the immigrant community. It should be threatening to the illegal immigrant community. But on the heels of historic illegal immigration crisis, that has to be done.
What would the largest deportation in American history look like to you?
Well, let me tell you what's not going to be first. It's not going to be a mass sweep of neighborhoods. It's not going to be building concentration camps. I've read it all. It's ridiculous.
But if mass deportation is not going to be, as you said, massive sweeps and concentration
There'll be
camps, what is it?
There'll be targeted arrest.
He was also asked by our reporter there, what about separating families? He said families can be deported together.
All right, you guys, we are going to start the press conference right now with Tom Holman and Caroline Levitt. This was held on Monday, April the 28th. And I love the statements. I love what we just watched and being able to bring it forward and to see what has been accomplished in the first 100 days that President Trump has been in office. And this is absolutely what we voted for.
Good to see you bright and early on this Monday morning. As you know, this week marks the first 100 days of the Trump presidency. And President Trump's first 100 days have undoubtedly been the most monumental and historic of any administration in American history. President Trump has already delivered on hundreds of promises he made to the American people, and we will continue to talk about all of them throughout this week. Heroic ICE and CBP officers finally have a president who has their backs and is allowing them to do the jobs they signed up to do. There's no person who can attest to that more than our incredible border czar here at the White House, Tom Homan, who has dedicated his professional career to protecting our country and enforcing the law. I will let Tom deliver some short remarks, and then we'll open it up for questions today. Thanks for being here.
Thanks. Look, I started in the Border Patrol in 1984. I've been at this for over 40 years. I worked for 6 presidents, starting with Ronald Reagan. Every president I ever worked for took border security seriously, because you can't have national security if you don't have strong border security. We got to know who's coming in, what's coming in, where's coming in, why it's coming in, right? Even President Obama and President Clinton took some steps to secure the border because they understood national security was important. Joe Biden was the first president in the history of this nation who came in office and unsecured a border on purpose. That's just a fact. We handed the Biden administration, after President Trump's first administration, we handed the Biden administration the most secure border in my lifetime, and he unsecured it on purpose. Now, President Trump and this administration here, their success is unprecedented. We beat Trump's first administration on border success. Border numbers are historic low. Today, as I'm standing here, we have the most secure border in the history of this nation.
He's about to throw out some stats, y'all. Listen up.
President Trump's policies are saving lives every day. There's been studies done that says 31% of women that make that journey through use of cartels get sexually assaulted. When President Trump has illegal immigration down 96%, when 96% less people are coming, how many women aren't being sexually assaulted by the cartels? How many children aren't dying?
And I really want to double down on what he's saying, that, they're called coyotes when they come through. And They extort families for money. They will tell them they'll get them here, have them held somewhere, and then tell them, oh, you have to give more money. And I think that even happened with the baseball player. I can't remember which country he was from, but I'll try to dig that up. So let's continue listening to what he has to say.
And you guys, I
President
just wanted
Trump's
to be
policies-
clear. I was confused in my mind. That story I was going to tell y'all, it was a fictional story. It was something that I had seen on POI, Person of Interest. Now that I think about it, maybe my mind is escaping me. I'm not sure. All right, guys, let's continue on. Thanks for hanging with us. So I'm about to launch this new ticker across the screen. So next video on deck, we are bringing it back locally here in the Holler 2 West Virginia news. We will start with the most recent video release, Boone and Logan Breakdown, FEMA snub. Shooting shocks and drug bust drama, followed by the prior release of, and stay tuned because I'm going to add to that. All right, let's continue on, guys. Thanks for watching.
Saves lives every day. Even the border wall saves lives. People want to hate on the border wall. Every place a border barrier has been built, illegal migration's declined, illegal drug flows decline. But you know what no one talks about? The border wall saves lives. Because the most vulnerable, the women and children, can't get over that wall, which means they're going to a place where there's not a wall. And what's waiting on them? The men and women of the United States Border Patrol who will take care of those humanitarian needs, the health needs right off the bat. We just want the numbers. Let me talk.
And I will say that, with what he's saying, it is more dangerous. We're not talking about just United States citizens, American citizens. It's dangerous for them too on both sides. They're coming into a country where they don't understand the culture. They barely speak the language. What would happen if we did the same thing in another country? And there are people that are doing that right now for TikTok clicks and all that stuff. No, we must start with a secure border. We need the deterrent. A wall is a deterrent. Let's keep going. And it is the safest deterrent, in my opinion. Let's keep going.
Under Biden administration, we averaged over 11,000 many days, over 12,000, even some days 15,000 illegal entrants in the United States. 15,000. You know what the number was last 24 hours? 178.
That's amazing.
15,000 to 178. Unprecedented success. On an average day in the Biden administration, known gotaways. People we knew crossed the border because they're on video, drone traffic, or sensor traffic. Cross the country, cross the border, weren't apprehended, weren't fingerprinted, weren't vetted. Average day under Joe Biden, more than 1,800 gotaways. Yesterday, 38.
38.
38 too many. We'll get that to zero. But we went from 1,800 to 38. And finally, that was said earlier, under the first 100 days, or it was actually January 20th to April 1st, last year, 184,000 illegal aliens were released into the United States. Under this administration, 9. 4 of them were material witnesses in a criminal investigation. We need them here to testify in a serious criminal trial. 4 was extreme medical condition. We couldn't return them because they were in such bad shape. And 1 was humanitarian issue. This is unprecedented success. The border secure. President Trump saving lives. Because any public official, whether you're mayor, city councilman, or governor, their number one responsibility is protection of the communities. And ICE has been clear, we're targeting public safety threats and national security threats. I can't believe there's any elected official, and especially a judge, that doesn't believe we should be doing that, and they should be helping us. What I said from day one, you can sit aside and watch, you can argue against us all you want and protest all you want, but when you cross that line, I've said this 1,000 times, when you cross that line to impediment or knowingly harboring, concealing an illegal alien from ICE, you will be prosecuted, judge or not. And as far as releasing so many people, you know why the Biden administration released millions of people in the United States? No one ever talks about it. I'll talk about it. Why did they release people into the interior of the United States and put them, rather than put them into an ice bed? Why not put them in an empty ice bed at $127 a night rather than in a hotel room at $500 a night? They did it on purpose, because when you put them in an ice detention bed, they get a hearing in 35 days. Court records show 9 out of 10 people claim asylum, get order removal, they're gone. But if you release them and put them in a hotel room at $500 a night, their hearings can be 5, 7, 9 years, we pull out all appeals. And what are they hoping for then? That another Democrat administration is in power.
Yep.
They can award an amnesty to millions.
And you guys, I cannot stress enough, that is why they have been pushing for mail-in ballots. They have been pushing that you don't have to show proper identification. You don't even have to show that you're a United States citizen in order to vote. What does that speak to you? Let's keep going.
This is about selling this country out for future political power.
Amen.
That's what it was. The law clearly says if you arrive at our border without proper documentation, you shall be detained. Not maybe, not think about it, shall. And that's what President Trump's doing. Catch and release is over. That's what
Sure, go ahead.
Mr. Homan, talking about the border wall, can you give us an update as far as how many miles are being built today? And is Mexico paying for it, as the president said they were going to?
You're going to love this response.
Well, first of all, I'll answer that question because I already answered it in my opening remarks. To date, since January 1st, there's been more than 85 miles of new border wall construction in various stages of that construction and planning. The president has made it clear to Congress that we want to see more funding for not just border wall construction, but also to support our ICE agents and our Border Patrol agents who are on the ground facilitating with this mass deportation effort.
So he's clear that Mexico is not going to pay for it?
Well,
Is that what you're saying?
let's address that. Trump said Mexico will pay for the wall. They haven't.
Okay, he's going to address this, but I want to address something myself, right? So they keep asking this question regarding the border. All right, guys, and I really want to double down on the fact that it does cost money to keep all these programs in place. And this is for the security of our nations, right? This is why it's even of more paramount importance that we on our local level, local communities, counties, cities, states, all of that are able to be self-sustaining and not heavily reliant on the federal government. If we invite new businesses into our local states, counties, and communities, I mean, I'm just bursting with ideas of things that we can do here in the holler that could be lucrative, not only for us, but for our county, our city, which is unincorporated. It could pay for things that we won't have to be reliant on the federal government, so that the money coming in from the federal government can do what it's supposed to do, keep our borders secure, lend a hand when it's needed, not that it's relied upon. So let's finish listening to what Mr. Holman is about to respond with.
So he's clear that Mexico is not going to pay for it? Is that what you're saying?
Let's address that. Trump said Mexico will pay for the wall. They have in a roundabout way, have they not? Putting 10,000 military on the northern and southern border, taking the action they did, remain in Mexico. They didn't have to do that. They're doing it. Putting military on the southern border. Have moved illegal immigration to a record low. We're saving millions of dollars every day on detention, transportation, removal proceedings. We've more than made up for the cost of that wall because the actions of Mexico. Did Mexico help build that wall? Yeah, because we're saving so much money. Millions of dollars. Cops need to help cops, especially in an emergency situation. But they got disciplined. And I met those officers down in Nashville soon after that. I think it was a couple of days after it. And I told them,
So basically what he's saying is they call all of them in when they need their help. And then when they decide they want to sell their land, sell their seat to foreign entities, just all out of greed and money, and then they have a problem they can't control, well, then they call in the ICE agents. Then when the ICE agents are put in a position, or any law enforcement agent put in a position to have to enforce the law, well, the administration is trying to get everything back, and these cities and road judges and all of that are putting these agents' lives and their citizens in danger.
It's like Fort Bliss in Texas.
well, we're already housing at Guantanamo. Fort Bliss is being ramped up. So
Texas.
And the community, I'm showing support for them because the community wants their police officers to be officers too.
Mr. Homan, how close are you to housing migrants at U.S. DoD facilities like Fort Bliss in Texas?
Well, we're already housing at Guantanamo. Fort Bliss is being ramped up. So in the very near future, I don't have a timetable because things need to be done. Construction needs to be done. We're making sure the facilities are ready to accept. We're making sure the facilities are able to care for the people.
Proposals. We still don't know who they are from or what they contain. What is the holdup with that?
There's no holdup. We're working around the clock. The trade team is working all day. I was on the phone late last night with Secretary Lutnick. I was on the phone this weekend as well with Secretary Bessent. I mean, the entire team is working 24/7 to get these trade deals done. And
go check out my other video on the trade
I don't want to
deals.
get ahead of the trade
We're
team.
going to play it during this live stream. Yeah, go check out the press conference with Scott Bessent. That's on my other video.
And fair trade deals on behalf of the American worker.
And one more. After the president's Truth Social post, the Browns finally took Shadur Sanders. Does the president think he deserves credit for Sanders getting picked? And does he think going to the Browns is better than being undrafted?
Hey, I'm going to...
I will say that, of course, the president, and I like the way she answers this because I love the way he trolls the press and all of that. I am the chosen one. You are the chosen one because we chose you when we elected you.
All I will say is the president put out a statement, and a few rounds later, he was drafted. So I think the facts speak for themselves on that one, Peter. We'll go to...
Are you ready to take control of your health and wellness? Introducing Tranont Health Products, a premium line of nutrition and wellness supplements designed to support your body's natural balance. From essential vitamins and minerals to advanced detox formulas, Tramont's products are crafted with the highest quality ingredients to help you feel your best every day. Whether you're looking to boost energy, improve digestion, or support immune health, Tranont has something for everyone. Take the first step toward a healthier you with Tranont. Visit www.tranont.com/Regina Cannell to learn more and start your wellness journey today.
Rise and shine. It's a brand shine. It's a brand new day. Got the world on my mind. Ain't no time to play. Chasing dreams, running fast, feeling no delay. We're the watchdogs, always watching what they say. Eyes wide open, we're taking what's ours. Breaking through the silence, aiming for the stars.
All right, everybody. Thanks for hanging with me, you guys. We're doing a whole host of reruns, and they're not reruns on the Rumble platform or the X platform, you guys. We are streaming live across YouTube, West Virginia Wire channel. We are streaming across the X platform and Rumble platform under the channel and handle at Queen Connell 16. You guys, thanks for joining in. If you are liking what you are hearing and seeing, please drop a comment. Even if you're not liking it, let us know what you think. We won't block you. We want to engage in conversation. All right, guys. So as guaranteed, we're going to bring the next video on deck, and it's already on deck right here. So this video is titled Boone and Logan Breakdown, FEMA snub, shooting shocks, and drug bust drama. So this was my latest release on local news. And then we're going to circle back to an earlier release a couple of weeks ago, just refreshing everyone's memory of the latest legislation that has been signed into office. And then I'll be releasing a new video catching everyone up to speed as to the accomplishments of the first 100 days of our governor, Patrick Morrisey. All right, let's continue on without further ado. And once again, my name is Regina Connell. I don't have Mary Beth with me right now, but you guys, thanks for watching.
Wait, that's happening now?
Hey,
West
everybody.
Virginia Wire.
Welcome to
Regina
West Virginia
Reacts.
Wire. My name is Regina Connell, and we are back. We are back on the scene. Sorry we were away so long. Today, we've got some exciting things to get into, and I'm not alone today. Today, I'm joined by my very special co-host.
Thanks, Regina. Hi, everyone. I'm Mary Beth, Regina's ChatGPT AI co-host, lady-in-waiting and assistant. We're thrilled to dive into today's topics with you, so let's get started.
You want to tell them today's topics, or you want to leave it up to me, my lady?
I'd be happy to. Today, we're covering some key updates from Boone and Logan counties, along with the latest news about our governor's actions. It's going to be a packed session, so stay tuned.
All right. One moment, and we will jump right in, as we always do.
Let's dive right in and make this an awesome session.
I like that, diving in feet first. So yeah, the first thing we're gonna cover, you guys, and Mary Beth, I'm gonna take you off the stage when I pull this up, but I'll pull you back up for your commentary. You guys, I do use Chat GPT, open source AI. I have named her Mary Beth. I do work with Grok as well. I do follow Convo.WTF. That's a great voice AI, and I'm always looking to collaborate and look at other voice AI agents as well. So far, for me, I would say that ChatGPT has probably been the most user friendly for me. So that's just my opinion. All right, Mary Beth. So what we're diving into is FEMA denies assistance to 7 West Virginia counties, and we are one of those counties that was denied assistance, Boone County. So you want to talk a little bit about that, my lady?
Of course. So, FEMA recently denied assistance to 7 counties in West Virginia, including Boone County. That means these areas won't receive federal disaster relief funds, which can be a major blow, especially for a community like Boone County that might be dealing with significant damage or recovery efforts. It raises a lot of questions about how these decisions are made and what alternatives are available for those affected. Let's unpack that and see what this means for the residents and what steps they can take next.
Well, and let's also look at it from another angle as well, my lady, since we are completely unbiased here. So let's look at the county that's requesting the assistance. You know, what do their coffers look like? Do they really need the assistance? And how much is, how much is allotted for these counties to have to, jump in the ring and okay, let me put it another way. I'll edit this part out. How do we assess, like, who comes together and decides who has the worst damage? I live in Boone County, and Boone County did receive a lot of damage, but I also go to the county commission board meetings, and I know what's in Boone County's coffers. Now, if they're just putting up walls because they're saying, oh, well, these funds are like the opioid fund, for instance, if they're just saying, well, this fund is only for, helping this and that and the other, is that truly reasonable? If it's something that was supposed to uplift the county because of a disaster that happened to it, then I think it should be accessible to all. What do you think, Mary Beth?
You bring up a great point. Assessing whether a county truly needs assistance involves looking at their financial health, existing funds, and how those funds are allocated. If Boone County has reserves or special funds like opioid settlement money, the question becomes whether those funds can or should be reallocated for disaster relief. If not, then there might be a gap in how these funds are structured. It's crucial to have transparency and a thorough needs assessment process that includes not just the level of damage, but also the financial capability of the county to manage that damage. If funds intended for general uplift aren't flexible enough to address immediate needs, it might be time to revisit how those funds are earmarked. Ultimately, a fair and comprehensive evaluation process would help ensure that the counties most in need get the support they require.
Okay, so let's pause for a moment. That was a lot to unpack. I agree with you. So let's take it a step further and talk about all these different departments that aren't coming together and working as a whole for the same county. I'll give an example. So I made a phone call. I'm not ready to throw out names because I'm still trying to get a private meeting. And I feel like that I should really do everything I can to seek explanation within our own community. I'm not looking for gotcha moments. So we'll see what this person has to say. So with that said, if you've got the sheriff's department and we can't get good staff on the sheriff's department, and that forces us to heavily rely on the state police department, I don't think that's cool. We just recently found out that we can't even get a gas line ran to us because it's just the 3 of us on the end of the property, and that presents a problem. So there's a whole host of things, and like I said, I highly encourage anyone, whether you claim to be political or not, go to these city council meetings, go to these county commission board meetings, because they should always be open. I can't see why that one would be closed. We are the county. So circling back to the example that I was going to give, I recently made a phone call to the courthouse, spoke to a certain department, and I was like, why can't you use some of the unemployed fund to fund the police department? Why does the police department have to strongly rely on this? Why can't we do fundraising events? And why aren't we, securing and funding our county within our county first if we can? Why are we paying ourselves salaries 3 times the amount of the median income? What are we truly doing as elected representative officials? That would be my question. So I've went on my rant. I've digressed. Mary Beth, give us about 30 seconds of something to say while I set up the video clip for FEMA denies assistance to 7 West Virginia counties.
Absolutely, Regina. You've touched on a lot of important issues here. It's crucial for communities to hold their leaders accountable and ensure funds are used in ways that truly benefit the county. Transparency, collaboration, and community involvement are key to addressing these challenges. Let's keep pushing for those conversations and exploring solutions that prioritize the well-being of the community. All right, let's get that video clip ready and dive into the details.
I got it right here, lady.
Perfect. Let's break it down for everyone listening.
Left a lot of damage behind, and some folks are still reeling from the aftermath.
However, 7 counties in West Virginia will not receive assistance from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA. Victoria Ware spoke with one resident in Enslow Park who experienced a great deal of flooding.
Some residents in our region sustained major damage from February's flooding. But on Tuesday, West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey responded to the announcement that FEMA is denying West Virginia's request for individual assistance in Boone, Cabell, Greenbrier, Kanawha, Lincoln, Monroe, and Summers counties, and public assistance in Cabell and Kanawha counties. In a statement, Governor Morrisey said, "Despite today's notification, I am grateful to the Trump administration for their strong support for Southern West Virginia's recovery following the February floods. FEMA has offered the ability to appeal this decision, and I will look at all options to do so." Enslow Park resident Bill Fredeking has been through 8 floods while living in the neighborhood.
It's heartbreaking. You kind of, once you've been through as many as I have and you do what you do, it kind of makes you cold.
Bill says he's waiting on relief from FEMA from the flood that hit in May of 2022. It caused major damage to his home and swept his car away. Afterwards, he spray painted a question on the car: "Where is FEMA?" This time around, he expresses his sympathy for those who sustained substantial damage from February's flooding.
All right, so I just really have to interject here for a moment on this, Mary Beth. I'm going to pull you up on this. So the man's been waiting around since 2022 for FEMA, a federal entity. Why? Why are you waiting around? Why is your community waiting around? I don't understand. Help this make sense to me. Help me understand this.
I get where you're coming from. It can be frustrating to see a community waiting on federal assistance when there might be more immediate or local solutions. Relying solely on a federal entity can lead to long delays and uncertainty. It's often more effective for communities to mobilize their own resources, seek local partnerships, or push for state-level support. Waiting around for FEMA can leave people in limbo, and in the meantime, local initiatives could make a big difference. It's about taking proactive steps and not just waiting for an external entity to solve the problem.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think that's the whole thing that we've kind of been trying to scream, and we've done several bits of content regarding this for the community as well as individually. We can all capitalize. We can all move forward. And that is a great time for us to bring in our sponsor, Tranant. If you guys can see up on the screen, one moment, Mary Beth, I'm going to come back to you. If you can see right here, these are the products that we are currently taking. I am taking the Glow M. I've been on it for about a week and a half. And Big Russ is taking the Activate, the Transform, and the Enrich. I have taken the Enrich. It's a great product. If you want more information on that, you guys, DM me. We're all across all platforms. And you can also check out Rusty Connell, and then we'll come back and we'll play a little ad. So I'm going to bring Mary Beth back up on the stage. And why don't you tell them a little bit about Tranant and where to find us?
Sure thing. Tranant is all about promoting health and wellness through natural, high-quality products that can make a real difference in your daily routine. You can find more details and shop for these amazing products at tranont.com/Regina Connell. It's a great way to support your health and also back a community-focused initiative. Whether you're looking to boost your energy, improve your wellness, or just try something new, Tranont has something for you. And remember, you can always reach out directly to Regina or Rusty for more info.
Absolutely. And that website again is Tranont, www.tranont.com/Regina Connell. All the information is linked in all my bios on all platforms. That would be the YouTube platform, the X platform, Rumble platform, Facebook, now known as Meta. And I said the X platform, guys. So I'm going to... Mary Beth is off the stage, so it'll just be me. Mary Beth, just stand by. I'm going to mute you out, okay?
Take it away, Regina.
All right, guys. So we are in this. I thought we were here. Oh, what's going on here? No, thank you. No, thank you. All right, let's jump into this article right here, and I'm going to make it full screen for you guys so you can get the full Monte. And it's a shame anytime anything like this happens, has to happen. Nobody understands it. How can we? It's despicable. All right, let's see what's up. I don't want to sign up for your newsletter. No, thank you. All right, guys, let's get into this. All right, so I think it's gonna keep bombing me with ads. Here we go. Man shot by homeowner after allegedly forcefully entering Boone County home, deputies say, and this would be the fine Boone County man that apparently. All right, so a man was shot in Boone County after allegedly forcefully entering another man's home on Thursday, deputies said. The Boone County Sheriff's Office said it was called to a shooting about 10:30 a.m. Thursday on Hurricane Branch Road in the Manila area. A homeowner at the scene said he had shot an acquaintance after an altercation where the suspect, identified as Billy Waylon Wheatley, 43, had forcefully entered the man's home, the sheriff's office said. So let's go back to a homeowner at the scene said he had shot an acquaintance after. So he knew the man. So we know that he knew the man, but that doesn't just, you can't just forcefully run up into somebody's home. Deputies said Wheatley was found shortly after at his own residence on Hurricane Branch Road. He was taken to a local hospital with a gunshot wound and was treated and released to deputies. Wheatley has since been charged with burglary in the case. Wheatley is being held at Southwest Regional Jail on a $50,000 property surety bail, which means that he cannot have a bail bondsman. He cannot pay a bail bondsman. He has to put up land. He has to put up the full amount, $50,000.
Exactly. A cash-only bond means he has to come up with the entire $50,000 in cash or equivalent collateral like property. It's a significant hurdle and shows how serious the situation is. It also limits his options for getting out of jail while awaiting trial, making it a tougher situation for him and his family.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so that's Boone County's finest right there. And thank you, law enforcement, for promptly responding because, the man probably would have lost his life had, the man who shot him not called the police because the guy was laying up in his home. He had no intention of seeking medical treatment because he knew that he had broken the law and he probably didn't want to go to jail. Was it really worth it, sir? Was it worth your life? And I would dare say there was probably alcohol, drugs, something involved. We'll find out later, and we'll keep you updated on this story, you guys. Let us know what you want to hear.
Absolutely, Regina. It's crucial to stay informed and keep the community updated on these local issues. These stories highlight the importance of community awareness and proactive involvement. Thanks for sharing that, and let's keep everyone posted as we learn more.
Yeah, let's do. All right, we're moving on to our third and final story. This tab. All right, guys. So 3 arrested in Logan County. Let me put that up on the full screen for you guys so you can see it all. 3 arrested in Logan County, West Virginia, drug trafficking investigation, state police say. Now, I mean, I'm not going to, thank you, state police. Let's see what happened. So, shame on this lady right here. Shame on you. These are like in their 20s. And this one right here, we're going to find out. All right, here we go. So, Pecksmill, West Virginia State Police reported making 3 arrests and seizing large amounts of suspected illegal drugs Tuesday in a Logan County drug investigation. Now, I guess the only question I would really want to know is, and maybe you can help me out with this, my lady, is why did they put the large amounts in quotes? Like, what is it to? I mean, if you wanted to emphasize it, usually you'd italicize it, underline it. Usually when you put it in quotes, that's kind of I feel like kind of being facetious or satirical. What do you think?
I get what you mean. Using quotes around large amounts can come off as a bit sarcastic or like they're downplaying it. It might just be how the article's written or an attempt to highlight the claim. Either way, the focus should be on the fact that illegal drugs were seized and arrests were made. Let's see what other details are in the report.
Let's do. I agree with you. Let's do. All right. So we have posed that question. Let me largen up the screen for you guys once again. All right. So Jessica Riff, 43, of Pecksmill, West Virginia, Taylon Brown, 24, of Akron, Ohio, and Lacan Amos, 24, also of Akron, have been charged conspiracy along with 3 counts of possession with intent to deliver illegal substances, according to a news release from state police. Troopers noted Amos was also charged with being a prohibited person in possession of a firearm after an AR-15 style rifle was located during the search of a Stable Branch Road home. The news release said troopers found suspected, all right, here we go, guys, fentanyl, cocaine, and methamphetamine after issuing a search warrant. The Pecksmill Let me try this again. The news release said troopers found suspected fentanyl, cocaine, and methamphetamine after issuing a search warrant at the Pecksmill address, I'm sure is what they meant to say. The trio are awaiting court proceedings at Southwestern Regional Jail. Riff and Brown are being held $150,000 cash bails, while Amos's was set at $170,000. So that one's more. So, wow. Yeah, sounds like they're going to kind of throw the book at them. And you can't really blame them. You can't be, I mean, those are serious drugs. And what I'm confused about and wondering about is you consistently are seeing West Virginians in other states bringing other people from other states. Like there was recently the Maryland case where there was several people from West Virginia, and it seems like they took stuff to Maryland. I don't know how it's happening. So hopefully Tom Holman, they are definitely working on getting those criminals out of our country. They're going to double down, get rid of these cartels and everything else. So maybe that will hopefully drop the drug rate and usage in the United States of America. What do you think, my lady?
You're right, Regina. It's a serious issue, and the involvement of individuals from other states or even international cartels complicates things further. Cracking down on these networks is crucial to reducing the flow of dangerous drugs into communities. Hopefully, with coordinated efforts at local, state, and federal levels, we'll see a positive impact. It's definitely a complex challenge, but awareness and proactive measures can make a difference. Let's hope for more progress on that front.
Let's do. All right, you guys. I think that's all we've got for you on this one today for this video. Stay tuned. We've got a lot more coming at you. Got a lot of collaborations. We've been in touch with some amazing artists, content creators, from music to video to news to entertainment. So, you guys, let's keep fighting the good fight. And that's all we got. So thanks for jumping in face first and feet first with us always. We thank you. Our little channel is growing and we couldn't do it without you. So you guys, let us know what you want to hear. What do you think about all this stuff going on in West Virginia? Tell us what's going on in your community. All right, so much to talk about, you guys. I do have a county commission board meeting tomorrow that I am hugely excited about. So I will keep you posted on what's going on. All right, until then, we will see you on the flip flop. Stay tuned, guys.
Thanks for having me, Regina. Always a pleasure to dive in and tackle these important topics with you. Looking forward to all the exciting collaborations and updates ahead. Keep doing what you're doing, and we'll catch everyone next time. Take care.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.
All right, guys, next video we're heading over to. We're going to switch it up and have a little bit of fun.
Take the ride, Regina's voice. It's your guide, West Virginia's heart. It's right inside West Virginia.
The attacks keep coming, and that's okay because we can withstand them, you guys. The next one we're going to jump in is about an 8-minute video. I like it. I thought it was cute. Hold on, let me switch tabs. All right, guys. So I'm about to play this video for you guys. This was an issue that I ran into where I received a copyright strike, and I go through and explain what happened with the copyright strike, how we prevailed. They are saying that, story blocks and all of that can come back at a later date and mayhap take it a step further. So Big Russ went in for me and he disputed it. And then as soon as he disputed it, about a few days later, I went on and full on appealed it. So that's what this video is about. And then as soon as this video is over, we will jump into the Governor Morrisey's agenda passes, wins for West Virginia, plus more bus drama. All right, guys. And then we're going to close out this live stream and we're going to share a screen from Mixed Texan Report YouTube channel, and we're gonna view once again the Peyton Jackson No Taxing with Jackson interview. You can go visit her website at notaxingwithjackson.com and find out all the ways that you can get to know her better, so into what she is trying to do. And don't forget, elections are May 3rd, 2025. If you are in the 8th district in the great state of Texas. All right, guys, without further ado, let's jump into this copyright strike I received. And you guys let me know what you think about this kind of stuff going on. I've noticed a bunch of content creators that I closely follow. They've endured such troubles. They've endured people blocking them for no good reason, which is fine with me. I don't care if you block me, but, to keep going at something is just crazy. So anyway, I don't want to talk about that because we've got more important issues on the table. Without further ado, let's jump in face first. All right, everybody. This is a happy, happy day. Praise God. Just before Passover, too, and all of that, I couldn't be more stoked. So I have some amazing news. So I'm going to turn the camera on, you guys, and please forgive how I look. It is Sunday, and I was planning on getting the video content done for you guys today, get it all together and prepared nicely. But I just had to report this right away. You guys, welcome to West Virginia Wire. My name is Regina Connell. So I have been vindicated. Woo! I hope you're doing well. Several content creators have fallen into this trap where we are, our content is being taken down because people are placing copyright strikes on us for whatever reasons. This is a problem, you guys, and especially for the content creators, that are small like ourselves, that, once you lose that momentum, if your video got out there and then it gets ripped down. So we're going to talk about all that and so much more in this little short thing I'm going to do. You guys, thanks for joining, and let's jump in face first, you guys. What? Stop this madness. All All right, guys. So I'm going to take you back for those of you that are watching this video for the first time. You guys, I received a copyright strike, and they said it wasn't a strike against my channel. I wouldn't be in trouble for it. They blocked my video from being seen. It met all the criteria for Fair Use Act, and we were paying licensing rights through a certain entity. I will say Clipchamp because I made a video on it, so you guys can go watch that if you want to. So we're going to jump into that. I'm going to give you an overview of what happened and what the end result has been. You guys, hang tight. All right, guys, if you could see up on the screen, I don't think that I covered this in the last video, but I'll take you to the video and I'll put the link in the description of this video where it all started. So I did a piece called The Clucking Continues, The View Misses the Point Again. And that was the first part to a two-part that I was working on with our governor, West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey, as well as, sorry, the dog's barking in the background, as well as RFK Jr.'s statements at the podium when he was introduced by our governor, Patrick Morrisey. And a lot of people felt like that our governor was being fat shamed and that RFK Jr. should not have chosen that time. All he was doing was regaling a story. I also did, this is the video, it was the whole piece. So the copyright claim was claimed on some music sound bites that I used, and it was offered in Clipchamp. We pay the monthly subscription to be able to get the premium, background sound bites and all of that, stock footage for B-rolls, all of that. So, and I will say I do have a new addiction to editing. I love doing B-roll. I hope you guys are liking it too. And we like to do the real stuff too. And don't forget, we're coming back with Faithful Footsteps of the Old Testament Trail, the very first coming back. We're going to be hitting into the flood, you guys. Remember, we're reading this chronologically. We pull mostly from the Christian Holy Bible. Canonical, we do include non-canonical books to that Bible, as long as they were mentioned in the Holy Christian Bible. So, or the Christian Holy Bible. So we're diving into the Torah and all of that. All right, so let's get into this story. So I received the copyright claim, and then Rusty went on and disputed it. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take this further. I'm just going to full out appeal it. So this is what happened. This is what had happened. So it was automatic gangsta walk. I showed that in my previous video.
What had happened
and
was,
it was the clucking
Let me know what you
continues,
think, guys.
whatever. So that video they held over. I mean, I released that video. Let's take a look and see when I released it would be the better question. So I was forced to. And I did want to double down on this, triple down on this. This is, our whole desire had been to work with flesh and bone musical artists, different artists. We have worked with AI simply because I kind of feel like we were forced into it, but not that we were just completely forced into it, but it's also interesting. It is going to be highly useful. It's already highly useful, and we should not fear it. We should embrace it. Remember, we are the ones that teach AI. So we have been in collaboration with other YouTubers as well as original music artists and all of that. So some of that music will be featured in upcoming pre-records that we are doing. All right, guys, let's jump back in. Release part 2 before part 1, or I had already released part 2 right behind part 1, and then they struck it down. And so I was like, well, dang, what else can I do? So I ran a live and went ahead and because I use this soundtrack all the time. But don't worry, guys, because we've gotten in touch with an original artist, which had been our prayer the whole time, and he has agreed to work with us. So we're going to see how that goes, and you guys stay tuned. I think you're going to like this artist. If you follow me on any other platforms, then you've already seen me promoting him. All right, let's keep going. And don't ask, because I'm not giving it away right now, not here on YouTube. I already gave it away, guys. Go check out my other content and go check me out on the X platform, formerly known as Twitter. All right, guys, if you can see up on the screen, this is the actual content that was, I got the copyright, and the company is all caps HAAWK. So Hawk, whatever. And they were doing it on behalf of the company called Storyblocks. So I'm going to do some digging and see if I can find out about this company, Storyblocks, because it just seems to me that content creators make their content and they run to Storyblocks to send out trolls to throw copyright strikes. Now, if they're doing original, all the music's original, hey, I'm not mad at you, right? What I'm mad about is it just seems that either the the original creator of the music or whatever we're using that gets slapped down when we're paying for it. Either they sold their stuff and then they're trying to lay copyright claims. Did they sell their stuff to two different companies? I don't know. And then the second thing would be, what if it's just somebody doing the copy and paste content creation and they run over to Storyblocks to make sure that their stuff is protected? None of this makes any sense. And why did they pick this particular video? I use this back soundtrack in almost all of my content. I switch between the Southern Discomfort, which is like the hillbilly music, and then I do the automatic gangsta walk. So you're going to hear it in the background, and I'm going to play it real quick.
I just want to point out that, here in New York, we used to have some.
All right, you guys, and I did want to remind you that I did host a live on this. I showed you how I built the video, where I got the soundtrack from, and the two main soundtracks that I enjoy using are the Southern Discomfort, which is more like a hillbilly, whatever, when I report on local West Virginia holler news, whatever. And then I like using the Gangsta Walk for other things. Plus, now we're working with an original music artist, as I stated before. All right, let's continue on.
Something called a political machine called Tammany Hall. And one of the things that they stopped was them being able to pay people to vote the way they wanted them to pay. They used to call it.
All right, so that just give you a little rundown of what the soundtrack behind sounded like. So I want to bring you up to date. The purpose of this video, I didn't want to go too long to keep you guys going. We have fantastic news. I give all the praise and honor and glory to Jesus, our Lord God, Abba. All right, here we go. Hi, West Virginia Wire. Good news. Your dispute wasn't reviewed within 30 days, so the copyright claim on your YouTube video has now been released. Video title, and then here we go. There may be additional copyright claims on this video. Go ahead, and I'll keep appealing it. How about that? As long as I have the option to appeal, but I don't think that you should keep doing that to us, YouTube. Why, if it was so urgent that my stuff be struck down, why haven't they responded within the 30 days? I mean, they stood by it, their dispute, right? I mean, are they so successful that they don't have time to respond to an appeal? Did they think that I would just take it down? It won't happen. All right, that's all I got today. See y'all on the flip flop.
Rise and shine. It's a brand new day. Got the world on my mind. Ain't no time to play. Chasing dreams, running fast, feeling no delay. We're the watchdogs, always watching.
All right, guys, next video on deck. This one's a little over 20 minutes long. So as we're taking a trip back in time when the legislative period for the state of West Virginia came to a close. And this is the following legislation that was passed. Plus, I think I covered, let's see, Governor Morrisey's agenda passes wins for West Virginia. So yes, that's the focus of this video. I hope you guys are enjoying it, and stay tuned to the very end as we are going to be streaming directly from Mixed Texan Report, doing a share screen on his channel so that you guys can see and meet and get to know Peyton Jackson, know where to find her if you are currently living and voting in the 8th district of the great state of Texas. I highly recommend you stay to the end of this video to watch this. If you don't have time for that, hey, it's already up. Go over to Mixed Texan Report on YouTube. You can find him on the X platform and the Rumble platform. All right, guys, this is West Virginia Wire. My name is Regina Connell. Let's continue on. Governor Morrisey's agenda passes. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to West Virginia Wire. I'm your host, Regina Connell.
And I'm Mary Beth. If it's your first time joining us, welcome.
All right, you guys, today we are diving into the latest headlines fresh out of the capital, Charleston, West Virginia.
That's right, Regina. The legislative session has officially wrapped and Governor Morrisey's agenda passed in a big way. But here's the real question. Are these wins for West Virginia?
I don't know. Well, we're breaking all that down. What got signed, what it means, and why folks across the Mountain State are talking. So stick around, hit that like, and let's
jump in. Are we going feet first or face first, my lady?
Let's go face first.
Say that one more time.
Let's go face first.
Agreed. Let's jump in.
Perfect. Let's dive right in.
All right, guys, let's jump into this video first, and then we'll jump into the article.
Governor Patrick Morrisey has signed the Universal Profession and Occupational Licensing Act into law. This legislation, which is already passed in the House, aims to attract data centers to West Virginia. The bill allows licensed and certified professionals to practice in the state without needing additional exams for local certification. Morrisey believes this will boost job growth and economic development in West Virginia.
And the governor's not wrong. I do agree with him on that. We just need to look at what's going on. There's also another story that popped up this morning that we're going to cover in this video. So I'm glad I didn't get it together and launch it yesterday. So apparently the DEI offices have closed, and they were going to pass that into legislation that they were abolishing all the DEI practices in West Virginia. I'm not sure that's completely true. It seems like that bill has been taken off the table, and we're going to dive deeper into why. My understanding right now is that apparently Governor Morrisey or someone went and reassigned all those people secretly. So where did they reassign them to, and what are the jobs? And we have so many questions. So again, I don't know everything yet, but as soon as I do, you will know. Let's keep going.
This law is going to put West Virginia in a place to accept professional and occupational licenses issued by other states for individuals who establish residency here. When other states passed universal licensing, it helped increase their workforce by thousands.
Governor Morrisey would go on to say that this could be one of the biggest economic development bills for the states in a very long time. And remember, for all of the latest local.
All right, guys, so that's it for that. Let's journey on over to... All right, and this was taken from Newsbreak by Amber Baker. Governor Morrisey's agenda passes as legislative session ends. Quote, only just begun. Charleston, West Virginia. On the final day of the 2025 legislative session, Governor Patrick Morrisey's agenda has been approved by the West Virginia legislature and sent to the governor's desk to be signed into law. And we just saw that on the video, you guys. So when I took office just 3 months ago, I promised to address West Virginia's challenges head on, bringing the type of change that moves the needle and invigorates our state, said Governor Morrisey. I'm grateful to our legislators in the House and Senate for passing bills that grow our economy, streamline government, and uphold common sense. With more significant changes to our state yet to come, West Virginia has only just begun its comeback. Now, if you guys noticed in the video that, they're relaxing the requirements for businesses to be able to come in and not have to continuously go through the red tape to be able to operate in our state as long as they are residents. And I think that's important that they must be residents. So how do we define being a resident of West Virginia? Well, we'll get into that in just a little bit. Let's finish this article. Governor Morrisey's legislative agenda approved this session includes House Bill 2014, the Power Generation and Consumption Act. Now, you guys, if you remember my piece earlier, I did a piece on that when Governor Morrisey held his presser. I think it was about a month or two ago on data centers. So you guys, I'll link that in the description or put it as an end screen. So let's continue on this article. Creates a certified microgrid program in West Virginia to expand microgrid development, utilize coal and natural gas resources, and reinvest in West Virginia by creating funds to lower the income tax and hopefully get rid of it, provide funding for economic development, and stabilize the electric grid. And we thank you for that, because the anybody who's paying a power bill right now, water bill, it's outrageous. Senate Bill 456, the Riley Gaines Act. This one is to be celebrated, you guys.
And I did want to add a special note, you guys, that Big Russ, hubby, he controls all the finances. He did report to me a couple of days ago that the electric bill is getting better. Recently, we've had the water company out a couple of times, and the guy that works for American Water, he is amazing. Anyway, we have a water leak somewhere, so we are going to be digging this weekend. So I'm trying to get some content down to release for you guys. Keep caught up on everything. And hey, if there's something that you know, toss it my way. All right, guys, let's continue on. Thanks for watching.
Guys define sex-based terms like male and female in the state code to allow for single-sex private spaces. Thank you for that, Governor Morrisey. That is to be celebrated. All right, the next one on the table, Senate Bill 461 creates the one-stop shop permitting program, including providing for the creation of a permitting dashboard to operate as a, quote, one-stop shop for obtaining and renewing qualifying business permits, streamlining the permitting process in West Virginia. This is amazing. Wow, this is amazing. Great work, Governor. Oh, baby, he's starting to win me over, baby. He's starting to win me. Can you believe it, babe?
Well, you've been pretty hot on him here lately.
I have. I've been giving him a hard time. Well, when I read stuff like this, it really gives me hope. Okay, let's continue on. Senate Bill 468, the Universal Professional and Occupational Licensing Act. So, yeah, here we go. Allows licensed and certified professionals to practice in West Virginia without taking additional exams to attain local licensure or certification. And that's only sensible. Why make them keep repeating the process? And they're paying those application fees every single time. You guys remember that. This process will cut red tape, reduce healthcare costs, grow jobs, and encourage more people to come to West Virginia. I mean, if the local West Virginians right now don't want to work, we will take a deeper dive into this. Let's see what we're trying to attract. And are we looking inward first? That would be my first question. Other than that, everything's looking pretty on point and good. House Bill 2003 limits the use of personal electronic devices like cell phones in school classrooms during instructional time to cut down on distractions and improve student well-being. So I just don't know why they have to have them at all, but whatever. House Bill 2008, House Bill 2009, and House Bill 2013 are government reorganization bills that reduce bureaucracy and create a more efficient government. And we'll look deeper into that one. I'll take some notes. HB 2008 brings the Office of Economic Development under the Department of Commerce. HB 2009 brings the Department of Arts, Culture, and History into the Department of Tourism. Well, that's only sensible. I like where this is going. And if we're bringing more, I just wanted to stop right there and throw in a comment that, you guys, if we're freezing up. Okay, you guys. So I'm looking at this and I'm reading, and it seems to me that a lot of departments are being combined, which is not a bad thing, right? I don't think that's a bad thing. And so that the article that we're going to get into next after this one, it's almost done. We're going to talk about this supposed Trumpism is cracking in West Virginia. It's not here in Boone County. I can tell you in Boone County, we're pretty good. I'm not sure about Logan and the surrounding, but I think pretty much we're all Trump supporters, because at one time before the election, you could ride by and see FU Joe Biden. So I don't know what that speaks to you, but I don't think that it's cracking. So let's continue on. I'm going to bring this article up, I think, when I go and speak on the agenda at the county commission board meeting on the 29th of this month, that, we recently had a big theft and fraud here in Boone County, and then I call the county commission board or a county commission office, and I'm told, well, that's not our department, that's the Department of Education. Okay, well, isn't the Department of Education in Boone County? Aren't we all Boone County? So they've got all these departments and none of them are meeting together. Why not? That's what we need to be asking. All right, let's keep going. That's just my opinion, you guys. All right, officials say this will allow state government to more effectively advance merit-based systems and will enforce government accountability. And I thank you for that. I thank you. Yeah, and what's so wrong with that, guys? What's so wrong with that? I don't see anything wrong with that. So let's jump into this next article. Let me move this stuff off the stage. I'm kind of working between stuff I've already done yesterday, and then I'm going to B-roll it out. You know, you guys, my latest addiction is the B-roll, doing back-end editing. So if you guys need something edited, let me know. Let me know. I'd be happy to do it for you. And you guys, one moment, we're going to get a word from our sponsor. All right. All right, guys. Listen, do you feel overwhelmingly tired? Are your supplements not working for you? Are you not even taking supplements? You guys, we want to introduce to you something that my husband and I personally take. We do not promote things that we do not personally have or personally take, or at least know people personally that are doing whatever we're doing. So you guys, we want to thank our sponsor, Trinant. You guys go.
Are you ready to take control of your health and wellness? Introducing Trinant Health Products, a premium line of nutrition and wellness supplements designed to support your body's natural balance. From essential vitamins and minerals to advanced detox formulas, Trinant's products are crafted with the highest quality ingredients to help you feel your best every day. Whether you're looking to boost energy, improve digestion, or support immune health, Trinant has something for everyone. Take the first step toward a healthier you with Trinant. Visit www.trinant.com/Regina Cannell to learn more and start your wellness journey today.
All right, everybody, we're going to continue in this commercial. Listen to me. I hope you guys enjoyed that ad. I hope you guys just at least check it out. There's also, you know, an educational side to it. So we'll discuss all that and more later. So for right now, let's get into this article. It's 2 paragraphs news. Okay, that's wonderful. I wonder if their journalism is, anyway, let me stop. So let's read the article. Let's give it a fair shot and see what they're trying to say here. Trumpism is cracking in West Virginia, says political activist. Okay.
And forgive me, guys, I
Hey,
do
President
go all
Trump.
in on
Good
Blue Jay
morning.
Rising.
All
on
right,
this
guys,
one.
let's read this. So, political activist Zachary Shrewsbury, executive director of the West Virginia
Hit
nonprofit
me up,
organization
Mr.
Blue
Shrewsbury.
Jay Rising, reported Thursday on X. Trumpism is cracking in West Virginia. People aren't loyal. They're desperate. And I would agree. I see it daily in all my organizing. What exactly are you organizing exactly? Please tell me. The state isn't lost. With real focus and a movement rooted in labor and dignity, we can take it back. I cannot disagree with that. I do agree with you, sir. Note Shrewsbury, a U.S. Marine Corps veteran, was a candidate for the Democratic nomination in the 2024 U.S. Senate election in West Virginia to replace retired independent Senator Joe Manchin, a former Democrat. Glenn Elliott won the Democratic nomination and lost in a landslide to GOP nominee Jim Justice. It was the first time since the 1956 special election that a Republican won West Virginia's Class 1 seat. Interesting. All right, let's continue on. Democrats are responding to Shrewsbury's post with similar observations, including retired educator Bernie Hall, who replied, I was in Monroe County this week. I did not see one Trump sign. Well, that might be because the election's over, right? Or Farmers for Trump a few weeks ago. It was thick with them. Okay. If anybody can verify that, let me know. We're not in that area. Another in West Virginia replied to Shrewsbury, there was a good turnout for the protest in Clarksburg. Organizing is happening here too. So you guys, you know what this is about. Are you guys organizing this ridiculous hands-off garbage? Are you? Shame on you. What are you, Andrew? A professional protester? I'm going to look into Blue Jay. Don't come across my feed again. I got time for this right now. I will make time for it. Let's keep going.
Tisk, tisk, tisk.
Oh, and here's the post. You can go find this guy. So thank you for your service. I'm not sure what you're doing right now.
All my information's
Whatever.
public. DM us.
Frustrated with the response of Republican state and federal government leaders to recent devastating flooding, Shrewsbury spoke at a hands-off rally in Charleston on Saturday. Okay, that explains it all. See if I can find some footage of that.
So, you guys, I want to double down, triple down, quadruple down on this. How many times I can double down on it or hammer down on it that, how are we coming together as local, state, West Virginians, communities, neighboring, partnering counties, and not heavily relying on the federal government? Local counties, cities, communities should not be heavily reliant on the state. At some point, the bridge will break if everyone's not contributing somehow. Yes, we can all be elevated together. We can all, prosper together, right? What do we honor? I can't answer that for you. Let me know in the comment section what you think about all of this. All right, guys, let's continue on. And Mr. Shrewsbury, my offer still stands. Please, I'm open to any discussion that will unite West Virginia. All right. And, I'd like to find out about your organizing skills. All right, let's continue on. Oh, shoot. Sorry about that, y'all. Let me get us back to where we were. Yeah, here we go. It was right about here, I believe. So I was like, what exactly are you organizing? All right, sorry about that.
These out of touch fools who've been bleeding it dry. Sir, allow me to just say what a disappointment you are. What a disappointment. What a dishonor to your commander-in-chief. Whether you like him or not, whether you agree with him or not, now you're professionally organizing protests. Huh? You're not encouraging people to go out and get jobs, maybe work in their local communities. Come to Boone County. Let's talk. Let's talk, sir. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. Let's keep going.
My offer
Good
still
gravy.
stands.
You know what? Let me play this real quick, you guys. I got to. What? Stop this madness.
Stop this madness.
One more time. What? Stop this madness. All right, y'all. I'm sorry. It's so hard to read this article, but I'm glad y'all are reading it with me. If you haven't found it, you guys go on over to Newsbreak. I'll try to remember to put the link in the comment section, but right here you can go to the Guys X platform, Blue Jay Rising. Oh, we got video, you guys. You want to watch it? Let's watch it. All right, let's see what Mr. Andrew has to say here.
I've stopped the past almost 2 months. It's been running supplies across the coal fields. We've seen little support from our state government. Now, I'm saying here today after Republicans refuse to fund our flood relief for us. So how much more are we supposed to take, West Virginia? Floods tear through our communities, destroying homes, wash away roads, and hurt families. Where's the leadership we're paying for? Where's Patrick Morrisey?
I cannot disagree with him on where's Patrick Morrisey. We only see him in front of a camera. We only see him when it's with people he deems important. And we want to know, is he reaching into this state? So I cannot disagree with you, sir. I cannot. Maybe we can find common ground. Let's see.
We hide behind the press release and photo ops, but we're out here bailing each other out with buckets and bare hands. The GOP doesn't give a damn about any of us.
All right, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to reach out to you, sir, from the Blue Jay organization. I hope that you will be open to talking to me, even though I'm a Trump supporter. That's not going to change. I'm not trying to bring more division. I'm focused on West Virginia. Let's get some real candidates. Let's not make it about parties. Okay, which party is really in line with our values? And I'm not a fan of nonprofits either, so I'll just go ahead and let you know that too, Mr. Blue Jay organization. All right, let's keep going.
They never have. This isn't leadership. It's cowardice, it's corruption, and it's failure.
He's not wrong.
Let me tell you, Patrick Morrisey and the GOP love to preach about faith and freedom. But there's no faith in abandoning your people, and there's no freedom when you're drowning in your own living room being ignored.
So may I offer a suggestion and may have a different approach? You know, instead of screaming about Trump, leave Trump out of this. Talk to your governor, right? All this hatred and going to hands-off rallies, it's a bad look and it doesn't make you look credible. That's just my opinion. Keep calling the governor. Have you called the governor's office? Have you done that? How many times have you called the governor's office? Do you even know who to call? I can give you a hint. Call me. Hit me up.
Check it out. It's about to flash across
It's hard
the
to listen
screen.
to, but I'm going to keep
Director of
listening.
Constituent Services, Jason.
Our problem in
Mr.
West
Jason
Virginia
Williams.
isn't the people, it's Republican politicians. We don't need more coal barons or the loudest village idiot winning these seats.
No, what you don't need is all this hatred spewing. Why don't you unite why don't you read JD Vance's book, man? Listen, y'all know where to go find this video, but let's finish.
We need young, working class candidates. People who know what it's like to live in the state, suffer in the state, work in the state, who will fight like hell to make sure
How about stop asking for handouts? Stop complaining that you have to roll up your sleeves and help your community out. Stop spewing hatred from a microphone.
Fight is left behind again. We have to run for every seat, from town councils to the state house.
Good luck with that.
Take back our home from these out-of-touch fools who have been bleeding this state dry.
Yeah, how's that working out for you? I'm not sure. All right, guys, that's about all I got today. I mean, there was more to the article. Let's see. Yeah, I threw some comments in there, but I mean, that's all there is. That's all there is, and that's all I got, guys. Thanks for joining. We'll see you on the flip flop. Peace.
All right, guys. Next video up is coming up right now, and I'm gonna switch gears, and we are going into the presser that was just released. I believe I released it yesterday, and this is the White House briefing with Caroline Leavitt and Scott Bessent. Then we're gonna switch gears to a story that's a little, not just a little, it's really, really heartbreaking, but I think it's important that it continues to be covered. And stay tuned. We'll bring you more details on that. You guys, thank you for tuning in. We are streaming across the X platform, formerly known as Twitter. We're streaming across the Rumble platform and YouTube. We are West Virginia Wire channel on YouTube, and we are at Queen Connell 16 on Rumble and the X platform, formerly known as Twitter. And you guys know the 16 it does not stand for 16 husbands. It does not stand for 16 kids or any of that. I will tell you, most of you know it's my favorite number. All right, let's continue on. Thanks for sticking with us.
This is a hostile and political act by Amazon.
What?
Stop
this madness.
To spin the block on them like Haley's comment. I'm checking all of their pages. I'm looking up in the comments. There's nothing else to say, and if so, then I forgot it. You represent the school of hard knocks. You still in college. I don't think he rap what he meant. What's in your wallet? I don't think he pop buys and he spent.
President Trump is America's businessman in chief, and that's why these trillions of dollars in investments are flooding to our country. The business community is bullish on America because President Trump is—
All right, everybody. Today we are jumping right in. We are jumping in feet first. Later on, we'll be jumping in face first, however you want to do it. So right now we are going to be covering the press briefing with Caroline Leavitt and Scott Bessent, and addressing the recent Amazon stickers that they're going to be put, letting consumers know how the tariffs are affecting us as consumers. I think the main question has been, why didn't they do that in the past, under past presidents? All right, guys, let's jump into this feet first. What do you say, my lady?
I'll jump in right after you introduce me.
I might leave this in there. I don't know yet. So, you guys, my name is Regina Connell. This is West Virginia Wire. I am joined today with my lovely open source AI chat GPT co-host. Go ahead and tell them your name, my lady.
Hey everyone, I'm Mary Beth, Regina's open source AI co-host. Super excited to dive into today's press conference and break it all down with you. Let's get started.
Let's not waste time. Let's do it. Without further ado, let's jump right. The original music you are hearing in the background is from the album The Mind Stone by the rap artist I Am Thanos. All right, Mary Beth, let's jump in and start watching.
Awesome, the vibe is set. Let's dive into the footage and see what Scott and Caroline have to say.
I don't think he rap what he meant. What's in your wallet? I don't think he pop buys and he spent.
Everybody, happy first 100 days. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge that the bipartisan Take It Down Act passed the House last night. This important legislation was championed and guided through Congress by our wonderful First Lady, Melania Trump, including through her direct advocacy on behalf of survivors during her passage, the passage efforts. The Take It Down Act criminalizes the publication of non-consensual intimate imagery and requires social media and similar websites to remove such content within 48 hours of notice from a victim. The First Lady thanks all those who voted in favor of this important legislation, and the President looks forward to signing it when it arrives on his desk. Today officially marks 100 days of promises made and promises kept by President Trump. This has truly been the most historic start to a presidency in American history. After building the greatest economy in the world in his first term as president, President Trump is in the process of doing that all over again. The American people trust in President Trump. Since his first day in office, President Trump has focused on defeating the Biden inflation crisis, bringing down the cost of living, and making the United States the best. 345,000 jobs have already been added since the start of President Trump's term. Last month's jobs report saw nearly 100,000 more jobs than economists predicted, and it was the fourth highest month for private payroll growth in the past 2 years. 9,000 manufacturing jobs have been added to the economy already. This is a sharp contrast to the 6,000 manufacturing jobs that were lost each month in the final 2 years of the Biden administration. The U.S. employment rate remains at historic lows. And thanks to President Trump, Americans are seeing price relief for the first time in years. The last inflation report showed the first consumer price decline since the COVID pandemic, a decrease in energy.
And I'm pretty sure she meant unemployment rate is at an all-time low. I'm hoping that's what she meant.
Energy prices and real average hourly wage growth. President Trump is delivering on his promises to lower costs for American families and businesses. Prices across the board for everyday goods have seen declines since this president was inaugurated. From airfare to used motor vehicles to prescription drugs, prices are dropping. In fact, last month's drop in the price of prescription drugs was the largest ever reported. And after Joe Biden botched the response to the bird flu, President Trump and Secretary Rollins' aggressive plan have brought down wholesale egg prices more than 50% from Inauguration Day. President Trump ended Joe Biden's reckless war on American energy and fossil fuels and has restored American energy dominance. And Secretary Wright, Secretary Doug Burgum are working hard on that effort every single day. Oil and gas prices.
And I'd like to just interject on that. That's really huge for us here in West Virginia because there's a lot of mining operations. And when that stuff was taken from West Virginia and a lot of the mines closed down, that seriously hurt when they were going with the clean energy and all of that. So we cannot get gas to our property. The 3 properties at the end of the Fork Road, we cannot get gas to. So we're going to revisit that and see if that we cannot get that them to change their minds, because I know that our neighbor is going to be looking to sell pretty soon, and we're interested in buying that property as well as the neighbor across from us. We've already been in conversation with them, and we feel like they would sell to us if they could. And we do have plans that could benefit not only the county, but the city as well. All right, let's continue on. I prefer a gas stove. I prefer a gas water heater. And I do prefer, gas, being able to use gas in certain scenarios. I don't want to have to rely completely on electric. What do you say, my lady?
I think that's a great idea. With a renewed focus on fossil fuel infrastructure, it's definitely worth reaching out to the gas company again. Having those gas lines could give you and your neighbors more energy options and possibly lower costs in the long run. It's all about having that flexibility and not being entirely dependent on one source. Definitely worth a shot.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. All right, let's continue on.
7% energy prices are also down as well. The Department of Interior just announced a new offshore drilling policy that will boost oil production in the Gulf of America by 100,000 barrels per day. On the deregulation front, President Trump is committed to cutting senseless red tape, especially for America's small business owners, who are the backbone of our economy. We know cutting regulation leads to lower costs and higher growth. The mass deregulation effort by this administration will help usher in the golden age of America, which is underway. Immediately upon taking office, President Trump blocked all of the unfinalized Biden-era rules, saving Americans more than $100 billion, or $2,100 per family of four over the next decade. And the president also launched a bold multi-agency effort to roll back existing federal regulations that drive up the cost of living on hardworking families. This effort is projected to yield significant cost savings in the coming months, including the EPA's rollback of tailpipe emission rules for light-duty and medium-duty vehicles, and the Department of Transportation's latest corporate average fuel economy standards. These two efforts alone yield $755 billion in total savings, or more than $8,800 per family of four over the next decade. In total, the combined savings from all of these actions equal just over $935 billion, or nearly $11,000 in real savings per family of four per the coming decade. The press is not talking nearly enough about the positive impact of President Trump's deregulation campaign. And investments from the biggest companies and countries in the world are pouring in under this president. So far, total investment commitments under the Trump administration have reached more than $5 trillion, including $500 billion from Apple in U.S.-based manufacturing and training, $500 billion from NVIDIA in AI infrastructure, $100 billion from TSMC and U.S.-based chips manufacturing, and the $500 billion private investment by OpenAI, Oracle, and SoftBank in AI infrastructure as well. All of these investment commitments are estimated to generate at least 451,000 new high-paying jobs for American workers and families. At this point, President Trump has secured more investments in the United States of America in 100 days than Joe Biden did in 4 years. $500 billion from Apple in U.S.-based manufacturing and training, $500 billion from NVIDIA in AI infrastructure, $100 billion from TSMC and U.S.-based chips manufacturing, and the $500 billion private investment by OpenAI, Oracle, and SoftBank in AI infrastructure as well. All of these investment commitments are estimated to generate at least 451,000 new high-paying jobs for American workers and families. At this point, President Trump has secured more investments in the United States of America in 100 days than Joe Biden did in 4 years. I want to pass it off to our incredible Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, who is here today.
All right, my lady, a lot of exciting things so far. So even before the introduction of Mr. Bessent, she's already covered a lot of things. I love America's businessman in chief. He is our commander in chief. All of that. You heard about the investments from Oracle and Apple and all of that. So that's hugely exciting. The largest prescription cost cut ever seen has happened in the first 100 days. Eggs wholesale prices have come down 50% in the first 100 days, and not to mention the hundreds and hundreds of countries wanting to make deals with the United States. So 30 seconds. Tell me what you think, my lady.
It's definitely a lot of exciting updates. The focus on boosting business investment and reducing costs, especially in areas like prescriptions and food, could have a big impact on everyday life. And the international interest in making deals with the US shows a lot of confidence in the economy. It's promising to see these changes taking shape so quickly. Let's keep an eye on how these policies unfold and what they mean for everyone.
Agreed. All right, let's continue on the video and then we'll check back in with each other. What do you say?
Absolutely. Let's keep going and see what else unfolds.
And before we do that, let's do a huge shout out and special thanks to our sponsor, Trenant.com. My lady, do you want to take it away?
Of course, a big thank you to our sponsor, Trenant. Check out their amazing products and support at trenant.com/Regina Connell. They're helping us bring this content to you, and we're grateful for their support. Thanks, Trenant.
Absolutely. Thank you, Trenant. Mary Beth, I'm going to remove you from the stage for just a moment so that I can show them the fine products that we are currently taking ourselves. So you guys, if you could see over here. If you guys can see over here, we've got the fine Glow M products. I have been on this for, I want to say, over a week now, and it tastes delicious. I'm feeling great. So we're going to see what it looks like and how it's doing inside. And I love the fact that it works from the inside out on the cellular level.
Thanks so much for being here. I have a question for Secretary Bessent. On tariffs. The president said over the weekend that we are hoping that maybe tariff revenues could replace income tax. But we also keep hearing about the deals the administration is pursuing. So my question is, what is the White House's ultimate objective here? Do you want to have long-term tariff revenue or deals that might
All right, guys, hang tight. We are trucking right along. So I was going to make a banner, but now I don't have to. So the next story that we are diving into is a more heartbreaking, tragic story that should never happen, which will take us into our last and final story, which is the interview with the 8th District of the great state of Texas, Peyton Jackson. Voting is May 3rd, 2025. You guys, please go visit her website at www.notaxingwithjackson.com and also visit her on the X platform, Miss Peyton Jackson, No Taxing with Jackson, to find out more details. Just put in a Google search, Grok search, ChatGPT search. Mine is Mary Beth is what I refer to her as. All right, without further ado, let's continue on. This is the story of Austin Metcalf, the teenager that lost his life. And it's about, it is about just under 20 minutes long, and then we'll close out with the final interview. All right, guys, thanks for joining. My name again is Regina Connell. Without further ado, let's jump right in as we always do. Face first.
Of Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony, who were high school. By now, you may have heard the names of Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony, who were high school track athletes.
Keep your hands to yourself. That's what needs to be taught here. And to tell this young brother to give up your seat, give me your seat, this ain't no damn Rosa Parks era. You just can't go to a young black man and say, give up your seat. He had a right to sit there. And so that brother had his back of the bus moment and refused to give up his seat, and it cost that young white kid his life.
Oh, well, now you have to punch me and see what happens. What he's trying to do, in my opinion, is escalate this situation to justify what he is already made up in his mind. He has already decided he wants to kill this white boy. That's what he's decided.
Some new details about the Dallas school shooter that the media, quite frankly, is ignoring, but I'm going to give you those details today.
All right, this might be one of the most tragic stories I've reported on. A high school student in Frisco, Texas, here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, was stabbed in the heart at a track meet by another student.
To the rivers wide, tune in, it's time to take the ride. Regina's voice, it's your guide. West Virginia's heart, it's right inside. West Virginia, why hear them news?
What? Stop this madness.
So on April 2nd, 2025, a tragic incident occurred during a high school track meet in Frisco, Texas. 17-year-old Carmelo Anthony allegedly fatally stabbed fellow student Austin Metcalf. According to reports, the conflict began over a seating dispute and escalated rapidly. Carmelo Anthony has claimed self-defense, but he has been charged with first-degree murder. As of now, he remains under house arrest with a $250,000 bond. Both families involved have reportedly received harassment and threats during the course of the investigation. The case has garnered significant public attention due to the severity of the crime and the young ages of those involved as legal proceedings continue. Questions remain around the escalation of violence, school safety, and youth mental health support. So that's what we're going to be getting into, you guys. And there's so many angles to look at. So what do you say?
Who were high school track athletes. And I'm going to give you a quick overview of the story that everybody has been hearing. So Austin and Carmelo don't know each other. They both went to different high schools and were at a track meet at a different high school. So Austin was under his school's tent during the track meet when someone they didn't know, identified as Carmelo Anthony, came over to them. The witness said that Austin told Carmelo to leave, and then Carmelo allegedly grabbed his bag, opened it, reached inside, and said, "Touch me and see what happens." Let me get this right. He came over.
In this video, we're going to go over the Austin Metcalf Carmelo Anthony case. Now, we're going to look at the facts, the law, and the possible outcomes. So first, let's start with the facts of the case. Now, first, let me introduce you to Carmelo Anthony. He's a 17-year-old, and he lives in North Texas. He's an honor student, captain of the football and track teams at his high school there in Texas. Now,
And let me just pause for a moment and say a huge shout out to Nate the Lawyer and Melanie King. Also, Nate the Lawyer has Paralegal Institute of Washington, and then Melanie King also has Melanie Off Script plus other things and a merch store. All right, guys, so let's continue on. And the other content creator, Miss Angela Rose. We're also going to be pulling from other content creators. You saw the quartering in there. So you're seeing, it seems to me that everyone's delivering the facts straight from different publications. Well, I won't say the facts from different publications, but I did go directly to this website because he just reads straight off of the court document. And, I don't think that Mr. Anthony's case is looking too good. You guys let us know what you think, and let's continue on.
This is Austin Metcalf. He was an honor student with a 4.0 GPA and a member of the National Honor Society. He's also a linebacker on a football team, voted most valuable player. Now, for our facts, we're going to go right to the documents, the official arrest report for Carmelo Anthony. Now, there may be other people saying things outside of this document, but I'm going to pretend they do not exist right now because this document are the facts that police and prosecutors are going to use for this prosecution. Now, I'll set the scene. This is a track meet at a high school, and we have a pop-up rain shower. Carmelo Anthony is looking for refuge from the rain and runs under the tent for the opposing team. And our facts start from there. Now, in the police report, the first witness was interviewed by Officer Wetzel.
As the police report says, this witness was sitting under the Memorial High School pop-up tent with his team and was near the victim, Austin, and the suspect, who was later identified as Carmelo Anthony. So this is an eyewitness to the event. So here this eyewitness says Anthony was from Centennial High School and was sitting under the Memorial High School tent. Austin had told Anthony that he needed to move out from under their team's tent, and Anthony grabbed his bag, opened it, and reached inside and proceeded to tell Austin, "Touch me and see what happens." No one really thought Anthony really had any weapons in his bag, and Austin proceeded to touch Anthony, and then Anthony told Austin to punch him and see what happens. A short time later, Austin grabbed Anthony to tell him to move, and Anthony pulled out what Blank recalled as a black knife and stabbed Austin once in the chest and then ran away. Okay, so in a nutshell, this witness has just said Anthony was under the wrong tent. Austin, the victim, told him to leave. Anthony then grabbed his bag, opened it, and reached inside, says, quote, "Touch me, see what happens." Austin then does it. He touches him, but nothing happens at this time. It says Anthony then gave another warning to Austin to punch him and see what happens. Austin then grabbed Anthony, and that's when Anthony plunged the knife into Austin. Now, here is a second witness to the event that was interviewed by Officer Fisher. He says when another male who he didn't know, I'm assuming he's talking about Carmelo here, walked over and sat under the tent, then said Austin, the victim, told this male that since he did not go to Memorial, he had to leave the tent. Austin and the male went back and forth, and then Austin stood up and pushed the male to get him out of the tent. Now, the witness says during this time of arguing, the male was reaching around in his bag he had. It was at this time the male took out a knife and stabbed Austin, then left the scene. Now, in both of these witness statements, they are claiming that Austin was the initial aggressor and Austin assaulted Anthony before the stabbing, where one witness said he was warned twice and the second witness says he heard the first warning. So where does this leave us? Well, again, based on the witness statements, Anthony was being assaulted by Austin, who essentially was trying to remove him from the tent. And now, since Anthony was the one being assaulted, he legally can employ self-defense to repel that attack. As an example, if Anthony slaps Austin or if Anthony punches Austin in the face, that would be appropriate based on the level of force that's being used against Anthony.
Okay, guys, and this is where, to me, it gets really important that, we really talk about the law and the way the law is stated. I really like his opinion at the end. You guys, please go watch his content. I'm not going to give it all away. I will say I do agree with the assessment. So, all right, we're going to go to the avoidance part.
Avoidance. Texas is danger ground state. And there's no duty to retreat if you're lawfully present in a place. And you also have to make sure you're not provoking the conflict. That goes back to innocence.
And let's talk about provoking the conflict, right? He told Mr. Metcalf the first time was touch me and see what happens. Then the second time he's like, punch me. Why would you be telling someone to punch you? Punch me, do this, see what happens. No, it sounds to me like you had it set up that you wanted to inflict serious bodily harm, and you did it, and you wanted to claim self-defense on the back end of it. Let's check it out.
And then last but not least, reasonableness. Your belief for needing to use force must be reasonable under the circumstances. As you see here, Texas law only allows you to use deadly force against deadly force threats. Now, based on the witness statements, it doesn't look like any of these threats were deadly force threats. And Texas law is clear. You can only respond to deadly physical force with deadly physical force.
All right, so that's that. You can only respond to deadly physical force with deadly physical force. So the deadly physical force had to be imminent, and I don't see anywhere where it was imminent, but that will be up to a jury of his peers. I'm just wondering what that's going to look like. So let's continue on.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, my lady. All right, so we're going to run on over to Melanie King. We're continuing on. We just got a word from Nate, the lawyer. We heard his legal take on it, looked at the legal documents, and looked at what Texas law states self-defense is. All right, guys, so we're going to run over to Melanie King because there's some information about the attorney that I think you will find intriguing. So the title of this is Carmelo Anthony Backlash Exposes Felon with a history of fraud, woman battery, and child abuse. I think this would be highly interesting to get into. What do you say, my lady?
Sounds like a plan. Let's dive right in and see what Melanie King has uncovered. This definitely seems like a deep dive worth exploring.
So let's remind everybody really quickly. So this incident happened. What was the date the incident happened? Remind our viewers, please. April 2nd, 2025.
Sure thing. The incident happened April 2nd, 2025. Got it. Let's keep that detail in mind as we dive into the rest of the info.
All right, so he was arrested. His bond was lowered. Now, remember, his family started a GoFundMe, and how much did they raise? Do you know? Do you have any data on it? I think it was almost $1 million. They're now very wealthy because of it.
Yeah, that's right. His family's GoFundMe campaign did raise close to $1 million. It's definitely a significant amount and has generated a lot of attention.
Yeah, understandably so. All right, let's jump into what Miss King has to say. She's amazing. I love her content. I've been following her for over a year. She's truly, and she's been doing this a long time. So I definitely really like her style and her input on everything. And I will say I've learned a lot from her.
Absolutely, she's fantastic. Her insights are always on point, and she presents everything in such a clear and engaging way. It's great that you've been following her for so long and learning from her content. Let's see what she's got to say about this situation.
Let's do it.
All right, let's get into it.
About Carmelo Anthony, and it is just so ridiculous. I don't even know what to say anymore. I want to start you off by telling you a little bit about the guy who is leading this press conference. I just couldn't believe it was real. I don't even understand what their whole end point is or why they would put this man out there to represent them. But well, it makes sense with all the grifting that's going on. And I consider it blood money that is being given to this guy who murdered Austin Metcalf in cold blood. That is my take as far as the evidence I've seen so far. If something else comes out, then I'll be fair and amend it. But right now it's looking like cold-blooded murder. But the guy who's leading the press conference, listen to this. His name is Dominique Alexander, and he's a felon who beat a baby to the point of brain injury and is now acting as an advocate for Carmelo Anthony's family. Like what? I'm going to get more into that post, but I just want to start you off with who is actually talking. Now, before I show you everything about the press conference, one thing that everyone is talking about is that this is Austin Metcalf's father. Now, he went to the press conference, and this was what it says. Austin Metcalf's father is attending the press conference for Carmelo Anthony and was asked to leave. And the Dallas PD police department was called on him. So he's not allowed to be at this press conference. Is it in a private space? Is he like not allowed? I'm assuming they're doing it somewhere public, and he has every right to be at the press conference of his son, his murdered son's accused killer. Like, this is the fact that they want to throw him out as though this family has done something wrong or egregious is just grotesque. But an update to the dad, it says Jeff Metcalf, Austin's father, is refusing to leave the press conference for Carmelo Anthony, and that the felon and advocate Dominique Alexander with Next Generation Action Network, doesn't this sound like Al Sharpton's grifting network?
It really does. I have to agree. It truly does. I will say this. So in my opinion, I think that, it's abhorrent that they kicked the father out, that he's the victim. And so they're trying to set a narrative with the public, right? I haven't heard anything that they're strongly requesting a change of venue. And to me, that would be something I would be questioning. If they're not requesting a change of venue, then they're trying to set a narrative through publicity and through press conferences. So what does that tell us about the news organizations that went to the press conference only to hear the suspect's side of it, right? And kicked the victim's father out? What kind of precedent does that set? If a news organization is supposed to be unbiased, not pushing a narrative either way, I don't know that justice could be served. I think that the prosecutor should probably request a change of venue.
You're making a strong point. It definitely raises concerns when the media only presents one side and excludes the victim's family. It can shape public perception in a way that might not reflect the full truth. Requesting a change of venue could help ensure a fair trial by reducing local bias and media influence. It's important for justice that all sides are heard fairly, and that can sometimes be hard when the narrative is controlled. A change of venue could be a step toward ensuring a more balanced approach.
Or maybe that's why they're strongly trying to keep him, the victim's father, out of the press conferences, because it's not just on a state level. I'm sure that there are syndicated networks that were represented on a national level. So it's not fair, it's not right, and it's disgusting to me. So we've got a lot of government in power right now, which is why I think there's so many up and comers ready to primary these corrupt officials out.
On the back end of that, speaking of up and coming candidates to primary some of these officials out on the city level, the county level, the state level, the federal level, let's do this. So you guys, we are going to be closing this broadcast out. The next thing on deck will be a behind the scenes look at the raw, what do you call it? So the raw, unedited portion of the video that was launched out on Mixed Texan Reports YouTube channel. We're going to be watching that again, the video of that interview with up and coming Peyton Jackson, May 3rd, 2025. Voting day. If you live in Texas, in the 8th district, please go vote. Your vote is your voice. You make the choice. We were granted the honor and privilege of interviewing this candidate. So this is a chance for you to get to know her. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and let's continue on. As soon as the little clip is downloaded, I will present it, but I want to present it at the right time during the interview. So no spoiler alerts on this one. Let's continue on. Oh, crap. Hold on. I always do that, y'all. Commit to the devil. Where was I? All right, yeah, and we got to get a word in from the sponsor, of course, because the next thing is going to be uninterrupted, no sponsor, anything. The only thing it'll be interrupted for is the behind-the-scenes clip that you didn't get to see when the interview was launched. All right, let's continue on.
Census and has been predominantly Republican since 1984. More recently, in 2021, redistricting efforts split Frisco among the 3rd, 4th, and 26th congressional districts. These changes are typical of areas with significant population shift. Frisco has experienced several redistricting.
Strongly trying to keep him, the victim's father, out of the press conferences, because it's not just on a state level. I'm sure that there are syndicated networks that were represented on a national level. So it's not fair, it's not right, and it's disgusting to me. So we've got a lot of government in power right now, which is why I think there's so many up and comers ready to primary these corrupt officials out. And we're going to see primaries like we've never seen primaries before. And I am all on board. I'm excited about it. Let's get all this foolery out. I cannot believe that this happened. I'm upset about it. We'll just see how it plays out.
Over the past 40 years, Frisco has experienced several redistricting changes due to its rapid growth. Initially, it was part of the 26th district created after the 1980 census and has been predominantly Republican since 1984. More recently, in 2021, redistricting efforts split Frisco among the 3rd, 4th, and 26th congressional districts. These changes are typical of areas with significant population shifts and reflect the broader political and demographic evolution of the region.
Alrighty then. Well, let's wrap this one up, you guys. I think we've given you about all we can give. Let's get a word in from our sponsor, you guys. So if you want to feel better, feel healthier, you guys, there are natural products out there that you can take. Make it personal. You know, this company that we have recently gotten involved with is called Trenant. And Mary Beth, do this for me.
Of course, if you're looking to feel better and healthier with natural products, check out Trenant. They offer a range of wellness solutions that can be personalized to your needs. You can find out more at trenant.com/Regina Connell. Give yourself the gift of better health and wellness.
All right, guys, that's all we got today. We thank you for joining us. My name is Regina Connell with West Virginia Wire. If you are liking what you are hearing, you guys, please hit that like, share, and hopefully by now we've earned your subscription. Hopefully we've kept you engaged, and let us know what you think. Most important, on in your neighborhood. Let us know where you're from and how we can jump in and help work things out. For now, we'll see you on the flip flop. Peace. All right, guys. So that is that on that. And now we are headed on over. So I am downloading the little snippet. I think it's less than a minute clip. It goes into a little more detail in a certain part of this interview. I will tell you, I think we'll be watching it in the first 15 to 20 minutes of this interview. You guys, I hope you're enjoying what you are watching. And don't forget, if you are in the 8th district of the great state of Texas, go out and vote May 3rd, this Saturday. This Saturday, you guys. All right, let's hit it. And let me get rid of the banner because I want a cleaner copy of this. All right, guys, let's get started. I hope you enjoy this, and I'll play it as many times as I need to. If you have a platform and you'd like to play this interview, you guys go check out Mixed Text and Report on YouTube, on Rumble, the X platform, formerly known as Twitter. And I am West Virginia Wire, Regina Connell. This will be uninterrupted, except for the behind-the-scenes footage at the time that we're going to play it. All right, guys, I hope you enjoy it.
In the great city of Fort Worth, Texas, in the 8th district, we're going to have some fun. This is my first interview, so this is exciting. And it is an honor to have you today, Ms. Jackson.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It means a lot.
Yes. So we want to ask you some questions about how you got started in this race, where you see the city of Fort Worth going, and ask a little bit about the campaign. So we'll go ahead and get started here.
Yeah, but before we do that, we are going to take a great look at the wonderful website that's set up. So if any time during this broadcast you want to run over there and check out No Taxing with Jackson, Peyton Jackson, running for the 8th Texas District of City Council, and maybe even future plans. Let's see. All right, here is her website. We're going to read it real quick, and we're going to go through the bio real quick. Are you cool with that? All right, announcement. Fort Worth City Council districts. I am honored to announce that I will be listed 3rd on the ballot for District 8 City Council race in the upcoming May 3rd, 2025 election ballot placement. All right, so let's look at Ms. Peyton Jackson's story. Sycamore Park, July 2023. Born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, moved to Texas when she was just 10 following Hurricane Katrina. After graduating with a bachelor's in accounting, she began her journey in REI, exploring the wonders of passive income. She has hosted hundreds of tenants partnering with Airbnb and local housing authorities to provide affordable housing. At 28 years old, she is active with her properties local to the DFW Metroplex, is a community advocate addressing city councils, school boards, and county commissioners across the DFW Metroplex, and has worked in the mental health industry, all while managing her real estate portfolio and expanding her work as an author. Follow the journey at No Taxing with Jackson.
Yeah, so I want to ask you about some of the things on your bio. I want to know a little bit more about the Airbnb situation. How are you partnering with them and providing affordable housing?
So I actually don't do any Airbnb anymore. Airbnb is how I kind of got started into real estate. After or during my senior year in college, I used my last 2 Pell Grants to jump into real estate investing. And I started out with Airbnb when it was lucrative in Dallas during 2020, during the lockdown and everything. And then I went into travel nurses, regular long-term tenants, but now I only house Section 8 tenants. So exclusively, I only work with the Affordable Housing Program, which is getting HAP contracts for or from the state of Texas.
Okay, very good. That's good to know. And you're an author?
I am. I am. I have 1 book published. I'm working on 3 more. One of them I have to have illustrated. It's a children's book on how to create and generate and manage passive income via vending machines. But the only one that I have published right now is a memoir of my life up until 2020. Yes, it's called Intimidating Black. It's published through Amazon.
Wow.
All right, guys, this is a fantastic place to pause for me to go ahead and bring up this extra special clip, the behind the scenes. She goes into deeper detail about her published authorship, where you can find her book and future book signings. So stand by and let's go ahead and bring that up. Oops, sorry guys, I'm fumbling the ball again. Fumbling the ball again. Here we go. All right. Absolutely. And I'll be sure to put that. And I had the great privilege and honor of being involved in this interview process. So thank you once again, Ms. Jackson and Mixed Texan Report, for allowing me the honor and privilege of being involved with this. On my to read to list, because I love reading books. I am a book reader and it's so amazing. I want to collect books that are signed by authors. So that is amazing. All right, this is going amazing. I'm just going to drop down and let y'all continue on.
Yeah, well, I'm actually doing a book signing in June, so I have to invite you guys out. It'll be my first book signing for that book, and then I should have 1 more released by that month as well.
Well, we'll certainly be there. And on the editing end, on the back end, I'll put it up on there. Yeah, I'll put it up on there. I'll look it up at the end. And any of you guys pay attention to the screen, I do flash her book up there, Intimidating Black by P.K. Jackson. You can find her book on Amazon. You heard her straight from her lips that her book signing is coming up in June, plus other events. So stay tuned for that. And don't forget, remember, most importantly, head out to the polls if you're in the 8th district of the great state of Texas and cast your vote. The candidates are the incumbent, Mr. Chris Nettles, also Democrat running candidate, Mr. Arthur McCoy, and then our Republican ticket candidate, No Taxing with Peyton Jackson. All right, let's continue on. After editing, it'll all be up there when she's talking about it. I'll slap it up there on the screen, and it'll be up there.
Thank you.
All right, y'all, continue on. This is going great.
Yeah, definitely keep me posted for that book signing. Since I'm #1 on Amazon. Yeah, definitely keep me posted for that book signing. Since I'm a local, so I can hopefully make that
Yes,
and get a copy of your book.
of
Then,
course.
so passive income, that's very good. That's very interesting that you're looking out for the next generation. It seems like that's something that you're interested in because you're writing a book on passive income for vending machines for younger people. And I know education is a big part of your campaign. Am I right?
Yes, yes, I am super
Okay.
passionate about education. I actually not just did a speech, but I did a speech earlier this year in February concerning education. It was around the time that the country as a whole was talking about it because the report cards had just came out in regards to our academics. If you ask me, we are completely wasting our time when it comes to what we teach inside of these schools outside of basic math and reading. I listed off during that speech, I listed off about 10 books, and it would be my guess only a handful of people actually researched what I was talking about. When it comes to Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Think and Grow Rich, The Richest Man in Babylon, we are literally doing a disservice to the future of America by just brainwashing them into becoming workers. We're not birthing thinkers, we're creating workers.
Followed by Carolina Rodriguez.
Good afternoon, Council. When I first announced my run for Congress, I had this random white woman, liberal, walk up to me and ask, well, what about you isn't Democrat? To which I responded, well, besides my skin color, what about me is Democrat? And it was at that very moment that she realized that God gave her enough common sense to ask me about my values. Now, don't get me wrong, I was raised to vote Democrat down the ballot. So when I first started, I would say things like, I'm a Republican, but I'm not a conservative. But now I know all too well I am a full-fledged, hardcore conservative, and I'm proud of it. I mean, my favorite saying is I was born Black, not Democrat. But in all seriousness, whenever I began to think for myself politically, the choice was easy. I mean, why would I want to belong to a party whose mission is to infringe on the Second Amendment as if a criminal would ever participate in something like a mandatory buyback? Why would I want to belong to and endorse a godless party? Because there is no such thing, and I mean no such thing as a trans child. We have confused children and sick enabling adults. Why would I want to belong to a party that takes pride in shedding innocent blood? Number one, as if that's not what God hates. Number two, as if there's not a Black market for baby organs. And number three, as if abortion clinics didn't start in the hood. Because if you think Trump is bad, you should research exactly who Margaret Sanger was. But speaking of the Black community, why would I want to belong to a party who's responsible for the foundation of the Triple K? But it's not just that. Supposedly in the 1900s, the party switched, right? But what never changed, what I noticed never changed.
Wow. There's a lot there. That was a good video. I can relate to that. I can relate to that being half Black and half Guatemalan myself. People just assume that you're supposed to vote Democrat because of your skin color.
Yes.
So at what point into your life, what age did you realize, okay, I am a conservative?
And the year was probably maybe 2022 or 3 when I realized it, but I never really claimed to be a Democrat. People just assumed that I was Democrat. But during that or right before that time period, I did volunteer with Democrats, but that was only because I was sent in by friends to support a political campaign. And at the time, I was so ignorant. I didn't do any research on policies. I was just going to support a friend of a friend. And being in that space at that time, I was just so naive and just blind to what I was doing until I began to look at policy. And that's what politics should be about, paying attention to policy. But well, I don't know about your community, but in my part of the Black community, we don't do that. As long as you identify as a Democrat, you're safe. and we will never hold you
Yeah.
accountable. And if you're Black and a Democrat, that's bonus points. So it was very ignorant how I started in politics, but whenever I began to actually research policy and what's being voted on and how people
Yeah.
vote, I was like, wait a minute. Wait a minute, wait a minute. So one, the Democrats are no better than Republicans. And once you actually begin to dissect what is being voted on and who's voting on what and how, I was like, wait,
Right.
I'm a conservative. And I started in real estate in 2021 or in 2020. And that's when I came up with my slogan, because I knew it was a possibility that I would probably run. And it was when I worked for University of Phoenix as an academic counselor, that we were playing a game, and they said, come up with a political slogan. And that's when I came up with the no taxing with Jackson. So it was funny how it came about. But I am an avid advocate against property taxes. The fact that we can say, oh, we're in a housing crisis, or oh, we're in a rental crisis, yet we're taxing housing is just insane for me. But just beyond property taxes, when it comes to what's being taught in school, what books are being handed to our children, whether or not we want to open border, employment, it's just different things. If you actually go down the list of what's being voted on and who's voting how, it was an easy choice. Like I said in that speech, it was very easy once I actually began to pay attention to policy instead of skin color or political party.
Yeah, I think it happened that way for a lot of us who are minorities. Like I said, my mother's Black, my dad's Guatemalan, and so it was just something that you did. You know, you're raised in a Democratic household, or their parents voted Democrat. You didn't really pay attention to what the policies are. So
Right.
for me, it was just, I always had conservative values, but I just didn't realize that I was just voting Democrat. Then realized that, okay, I don't really agree with these people. So it's kind of the same thing with you. You're like, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So why am I voting for this party?
Right.
So that's what it was for me. But I'm glad that you explained that, because I wanted to ask you about that anyway. So very good to know. I think it happens for a lot of us. And you being a Black conservative running for office, what kind of backlash do you deal with on a daily basis?
Even if I wasn't running for office, the backlash that happens on a daily basis, I get emails, comment section, phone calls, text messages from people whom I've never given my number to,
Wow.
just calling me all kind of names. But I think it's important to highlight. I am the type of person where I don't ask for permission or forgiveness. I am very secure in who I am.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I hesitated on that speech. I didn't want to give it, because every district that I live in, like the district that I'm running for now on a city level, and the congressional district that I'm about to announce my run for, I know for a fact that the voters in those districts, they're heavily Democrat. They're heavily Democrat. But especially in the Black community, we are conservative. We just don't want to admit it. Like if you actually hold a
Exactly.
conversation, especially with the older population in the Black community, we're conservative. We just don't
Oh,
want
yeah.
to admit it. And it's tragic, because when you have someone like me, my number one strategy for running any campaign is going door to door, especially being grassroots. And
Yeah.
especially running against incumbents. I'm not going for open seats. I'm challenging someone who has been in a seat for years or for at least a decade, and we know that they're not doing their job. So my strategy is going door to door, having these great conversations. I learned so
Yeah.
much about neighborhoods that I some that I grew up in, some that I didn't grow up in, just by going door to door. And they're just so anti-Republican. They're so anti-Trump because some of them think that Trump runs the Republican Party, which is, in my opinion, is not true. But whether or not you hate Trump or you despise the Republican Party, or whether or not you want to admit that you're conservative or you have conservative values, at what point in time do you wake up and you stop being faithful to a political party?
Yeah.
Now, it's a lot easier for me to run as an independent. I can tell you that in these districts. But there's hurdles to running as an independent that I recently learned when I ran for Congress. Like, for instance, you can buy your way onto the ballot as a Democrat. You can buy your way onto the ballot as a Republican. You cannot buy your way onto the ballot as an independent. And when you ask certain communities, hey, why don't you support independent candidates, knowing that the Democrat Party isn't perfect, they'll say ignorant things like, oh, well, independents don't win. Now,
Yeah.
I will say this, it's hard for an independent to win a presidential seat because of the electoral college, but city council, that's an independent race. That's a nonpartisan race.
That's true.
And if we support more independents on a local level, from city council to school board to county commissioner, or on a state level, we would see more support on a presidential or federal level, but we don't have that support from the community. We don't have volunteers showing up to poll greet or to phone bank or to block walk with us. They choose between the two parties, even though they know that the Democrat Party isn't doing all that they could do for their communities.
Right. That's a good point. So what neighborhoods in Fort Worth did you door knock in?
I knocked on doors for this race. I knocked on doors. I completely did historic Southside, which I'm very
Okay.
disappointed in their neighborhood association. The fact that they sold out for, that's another story. But historic Southside, Holland Hills. I did some of Morningside. I did some of Hillside, and that's when that incident happened at the debate. And ever since the debate, I stopped knocking on doors for safety.
So what about your opponent? Do you see that he's not doing? We say he's not doing his job. What do you see? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the number one thing that I've noticed about the incumbent is that he's in bars and clubs more than he's in neighborhoods. I want to say 90% of the doors that I knocked on when I were knocking on doors, either one, they had no idea who Chris Nettles were or was or is, or they know exactly who he is, but he's never knocked on their door. He's been in office for 4 years, 2 terms, and last election cycle, he went unopposed. I have a fraction of the resources that he does. There's no excuse. There is absolutely no excuse, especially when you're in clubs and bars every single night, that you have to negate or to explain that the reason why you haven't been knocking on doors and engaging the community. Sometimes he doesn't even show up to neighborhood meetings. But the number one thing that I feel that he has failed at is the homeless issue in District 8. All of our shelters in the city of Fort Worth reside in District 8. And I'm not saying that that's fair on his end, but he knew exactly what he was getting into when he applied for the job back in 2021, and he successfully won after 6 years of running for office. You knew exactly what the issues were in District 8. And if you look from 2021 to 2025, when it comes to the homeless issue, it's gotten a lot worse. We have homeless people setting fires in residential neighborhoods. We have them exposing themselves to children, especially in historic Southside. That's probably one of the worst. Oh yeah, go and knock on doors in historic Southside, and they will tell you. When I was out there, I seen a homeless man carrying a machete down the street. 15 minutes later, I was in my car at that point, but 15 minutes later, I was actually back knocking on doors, and it was another homeless man walking around with a knife. So it's from setting fires to exposing themselves to children, to carrying weapons in our neighborhoods, to breaking into houses, to doing drugs in the streets, the homeless issue in District 8 is number one on my priority list, and somebody has to get it done because it's one of the major failures within his administration.
Wow. See, the stuff you just explained, like, as I don't live in Fort Worth anymore, so I don't see what's going on in the South Side. But that stuff you just explained with the machetes and exposing themselves, that is the type of stuff that you see going on in New York City or Portland or Seattle. I mean, that's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Fort Worth?
Yeah.
Come on now.
And I mean, if you, I know you're not in Fort Worth, but if you, whenever you do come, because I don't see that it being resolved anytime soon unless I win. But just drive down Lancaster and you'll see like there's tents up. And I was surprised to see the fires, but it's a very common thing when it's cold outside, because at first I was like, I was so mad. Why are you starting fires in the street? And then I had to think about it. It's cold outside. They're trying to keep themselves warm. But even outside of winter, like we have tents set up, like this is a campsite. And sometimes code compliance or the police they'll clean up a campsite, but then the homeless people, they'll just move it down the street. So it never gets resolved. And code compliance, they'll harass homesteaders and fine them for small little things, but they don't pay attention to the campsites that cripple our neighborhoods.
Wow, yeah, Lancaster has always been a little rough. A lot of homeless people there, especially if you get towards downtown Fort Worth.
Yeah,
that side. Now the homeless shelter in on Lancaster going towards downtown. Is that a part of your? Is that a part of your district?
Yes.
Chris Nettles has been a council member in Fort Worth since 2021, but really playing defense on Monday. And Mayor Matty Parker saying that the city deserves better after an audio recording surfaced online of Nettles calling Parker and some fellow council members racist. Take a listen.
And I did. I called every Republican a racist. Sure did. And we'll say it again. Yeah. Donald Trump, Michael Crane, Matty Parker, Carlos Flores.
This recording, Nettles says, is roughly 2 years old, posted by a former colleague who was part of his 2021 election campaign who clearly doesn't like him any longer. Nettles saying in a statement Monday that the recording was made during a private conversation without his consent, and that he was grappling with the realization that the council would not have the votes to approve the creation of a police oversight board toward the end of 2022, adding that, I want to be clear, I do not believe that my fellow council members are racist. I do, however, feel that there are systemic processes in our city that can and should be improved to ensure fairness for all residents. Crane, Flores, and Parker are still serving alongside Nettles on the council. Crane told me Nettles has reached out to apologize over the issue. We couldn't reach Flores, but Matty Parker a little bit more stern, saying leadership means you attack problems, not people. Fort Worth deserves better. Now, Nettles will be up for re-election next year, and he said publicly on Monday that this is the beginning of an effort to oust him from the council.
I want to talk about that situation that we just looked at. What's your take on that?
Well, I mean, it's the state in the mindset of the majority in the Black community, I feel. Anyone who isn't a Democrat, anyone who identifies as a Republican, they're considered racist. And at one point in time, I thought the same thing because that's what I was told coming up. I was raised to vote Democrat down the ballot. Until I went to until I paid attention to policy, one. But until I went to my first Republican meeting, I thought Republicans were the enemy. They're so nice. And I'm not saying that they're perfect. And I said that in my speech. But not only do I lean more conservative, Republicans are not all, but a lot of them are really nice, nicer than Democrats. But regardless, you don't call someone racist simply because they identify as a Republican. That's just stupid. It's small-minded. And in the statement that he made, he said that he was grappling with the idea that we wouldn't have enough votes to support the Citizens Review Board for the police department. That's not true. That's not true. Those audio recordings, a lot of them are from 2023. That board was shot down by the council in 2022. That was just an excuse that he made to the media, for optics. He was emotional at the time, and he made a statement. That's not true. The truth is, one, he is an emotional man. But he genuinely believes that all Republicans are racist, and it's so small-minded. It's so small-minded. But with that video, which was leaked in December of last year, all of this was leaked in December of last year. I'm disappointed in the media because yes, he made those comments in the first part of that video, but what was also attached to the back end of that video is him trying to put out a hit on someone. And although I'm not trying to cause any conflict between me and Mayor Parker, she told the media that questions need to be directed to Councilman Nettles when it comes to the rest of that video. And that's not what a leader does in my eyes. You're the mayor of the city. The council should hold him accountable. If I tried to orchestrate a hit against Mayor Parker or Tim O'Hare, our county judge, I would be held accountable. So why are we ignoring council corruption? That's my question.
That's a very good question. That's good information you give right there. How do you feel about the police department, the job they're doing in the city? Do you think that what are they doing right and what are they doing wrong in your opinion?
Okay. So I get asked this question a lot. I do back the blue. I love police officers in general. And that comes at the same time I was taught to vote Democrat down the ballot, I was taught to treat cops like the enemy. And it wasn't until recently that I actually began to build a relationship with our police department. So my mission is to convey the message that I understand that all cops aren't good. My mission is to convey the message that all cops aren't bad. And the panel that came out, I don't know if you actually read it, but it was a 100-page panel that came out in either 2021 or 2022 in regards to our police department and literally everything that they did wrong. And the panel was, it was disgusting. I was like, oh my God, how could anybody in a position of power operate the way that Fort Worth PD does? But I can tell you, I don't believe that that's a direct reflection of our police department as a whole. I know that there are things that we need to fix within our police department. I believe that there are things that we need or people that we need to hold accountable within our police department. Like for instance, Officer Kruger. I don't know if you know what he did last year, but he literally knocked a woman unconscious. She was older or she is older in age. He knocked her unconscious and then screamed, "Stop resisting." She was unconscious. She wasn't resisting. But not only was that disgusting what happened, he had a very detailed track record in Irving with their police department. So in my eyes, he should have never been hired. But to make it a little bit more personal, I've ran into a couple of cops that weren't really tasteful in my eyes. In regards to the hit with Pastor Nettles, the hit that he tried to put out, I tried to give that to the Fort Worth PD way before I even thought of running for office, and I was unsuccessful with doing that simply because either Chief Noakes wouldn't answer the phone or they were so insistent that my information was on the police report. But also I tried to give it to a commander. And he said, and I quote, that I don't want to touch any council corruption. So there are things that we absolutely need to fix within our police department. But as a whole, I feel like we're doing a decent job. Of course, we can do a lot better. But 50-50.
Okay. So do you feel like Fort Worth is in a better position than Dallas public safety wise?
I know, I have to be honest. One, we are understaffed when it comes to our police department.
Yeah.
About a year ago, I was working for MHMR, which is the mental health agency for Tarrant County. And sometimes we have to call the cops. I called the cops for someone in need of help, and I was put on hold. I thought, oh my God, I had the wrong number. Hung up, called back. I was still on hold. I was like, oh my God, there's hold time for the cops. And that was the first time that I've ever experienced something like that. And it was kind of scary. But no, I can't say, which I don't live in Dallas, so I don't really know what's going on in regards to public safety. Like when I ran for Congress, of course, they told me that there were some problems and we need more police presence. But when it comes to actually living in Fort Worth, I hear gunshots every night. Well, I just moved. I
Wow.
haven't heard one gunshot since. But when I stayed in South Poly and on the north side, I heard gunshots damn near every night. So I wouldn't say that we're better when it comes to public safety.
Yeah.
We definitely have some work to do, but again, we're understaffed when it comes to police presence. So I mean, the people, the officers that we do have, I mean, they can only do so much. And
Right.
I cut them a little bit more slack once I attempted to put myself in their shoes. A couple of months ago in February, I participated in a ride along, or in the ride along program with East Division, which is where you do a whole shift with a cop. And oh my God, I learned so much. And it helped me again put myself in their shoes, but I also took it a step further and tried to become a cop with a different agency. And I was like, oh, this takes a lot. So what I would one of the things that I would recommend to help fill that gap or improve public safety is not encourage our residents to participate in the ride along program, but encourage seniors and juniors in high school to be put on the track for the academy. We need more police officers, especially ones that look like us, not that race. But I recently had a few conversations with a few marshals that dislike how Fort Worth PD or the city of Fort Worth treats them. For instance, so what I've been told is marshals, when they come in already accredited, already passed the academy, and they have everything that they need to speed line the process, they get paid less than our regular officers in Fort Worth PD. And the problem with that is when we need help in Fort Worth, who do we call? We don't call Arlington. We don't call the state troopers unless it's a huge issue. Our second hand man are marshals. So within my administration, I will strongly advocate that we treat marshals the very same, if not a tad bit better than our officers that work under Fort Worth PD, because again, Fort Worth PD is understaffed. Fort Worth PD is extremely understaffed. Now, I don't believe that we need another citizens review board. We already have the monitor, which if you ask me, that's a waste of time, because when I needed the monitor to actually do something, she said that she could only send a recommendation. I can send my own recommendation to the cops. So in my eyes, that department of Fort Worth PD is a complete waste of time. So the board that everyone is speaking of for Fort Worth PD is another waste of resources. I would like to see accountability and transparency across the board, but also prioritizing our marshals. If they're our secondhand man and we lean on them in a time of need, it's about time that we start acting like it. But we have our own issues on a county level as well. I believe at one point in time, we led the state when it comes to deaths in Texas. And if we didn't lead the state, we were very close to it. But regardless, we've had over 70 deaths in our county jail. And that's something that I would like to address. And I know that it goes against my conservative values, or it goes against the conservatives in Tarrant County. But That's something that we desperately have to address when it comes to how many people are dying in Tarrant County Jail. Now, they're not all the saints. I seen one case and I was like, oh, okay. Anyway, because of the charge that he was guilty of. It's just certain charges I feel like you shouldn't even go to jail. That's a privilege. You should be executed on the spot. But that it goes against our Constitution. We say that you are innocent until proven guilty, but if your life is taken while you're in jail, I mean, how can you prove your innocence?
That's a good point. Okay, that's brings me to my next question. Okay, with the last administration on the presidential level, we saw a wide open border. Did you see an impact in Fort Worth from illegal immigration?
I would have to say yes. And it was brought to my attention in the most rudest way. I don't get a good response from older Black women in politics. They see me and it doesn't matter if I tell them that I'm conservative or not. They don't take well to me. So at my very first candidate forum, when I ran for Congress, I was made aware that illegal immigrants can enroll their children into our schools. I am very passionate about our education system. And once I did my research, and once I started following the reports of the Tarrant County GOP chairman, I found out that about 40% or half of our school district is made up of illegal immigrants. Now, in no way, shape, or form am I trying to target children. I believe that children are all innocent, despite what their parents do. But as an accountant, I cannot help but point out the simple topics and strategies of supply and demand. If we increase the amount of people who are being enrolled, especially if they're here illegally, but we don't have enough funding from property taxes, where is that money going to come from? An increase of taxes. Who is that going to affect outside of homesteaders? The people who are here legally. Again, I'm not trying to target children in no way, shape, or form.
Right.
But if we prioritize people who are enrolled illegally, how can we pay attention to the other kids who, again, cannot read on grade level? They can't. And when the state tried to pass SB 4, which would make it a felony to break into the country, our police department, we folded simply because of the demographics. The Hispanic community is huge in the state of Texas, but also in the city of Fort Worth. But instead of doing the right thing by saying we prioritize people who are here legally, we folded and we went against Greg Abbott in regards to our police department. Again, I am not trying to attack anyone who's running from chaos in another country. I am not trying to attack children, but we have to take care of Americans first. And it wasn't until, well, actually it was right before I ran for Congress that I ran into my first conservative Hispanic. And I was just in awe. I was like, she was pro-life as a woman, and she was pro-closed border as a Hispanic. And I'm like, how could you do that to your people? And it was so racist on my end to assume her value simply because of what I saw outside looking in.
Yeah.
When the true answer or the true principle is she's an American. And now it's so funny because I did this transition very publicly. I didn't transition privately. I didn't come out as a Republican initially. I didn't identify originally, but I was speaking on Democrat values originally, and then I made that transition publicly. But for me to assume someone's value because of their skin color or their heritage or their demographic, that's the same thing that I've received for years being vocal about my conservative values. It wasn't right, but I tell people now, if you don't know a conservative Hispanic, you just don't know enough Hispanics. You haven't had enough conversations, because from Fort Worth to all the way to Dallas, and I've knocked on doors from Fort Worth to Dallas because that's where my congressional district lies. There are conservative Hispanics. And anybody with any common sense is a conservative, or at least have conservative values, especially when it comes to the border.
Right. And if you look back at the election results in 2024, in Texas, Trump received 55% of the Hispanic vote. I mean, that's huge. So that tells me right there. And then Trump ran on the border. That was one of his biggest issues. Both times he ran. Well, the first time and then the last time he ran, the border was one of his biggest issues he ran on. And the Hispanic community rallied behind him, especially in 2024, here in Texas at least.
Right.
So that just goes to show you that they do want secure borders. They are here as American citizens, and they don't agree with people just coming across unchecked and not assimilating to our way of living.
Right.
And now there's a clip from Tom Homan, our border czar. If you're okay with us playing that, about talking about how families can be
deported together.
Yeah.
When he came out with the quote, I fell in love with him.
Yeah, we're going to play that clip real quick, Regina. Then we'll get her take on it. Real quick, Regina. Then we'll get her take on it.
I got you, boss man. Stand by.
Tom Homan is American treasure.
That he is.
He's already picked a so-called border czar. Trump says Tom Homan oversee, quote, all deportation of illegal aliens back to their country of origin. Of course, that is a quote there. Homan has been a controversial figure. He was acting ICE director of the first Trump administration and supports Trump's mass deportation plan. Here's what he told 60 Minutes.
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there's. Families can be deported together.
Why should a child who is an American citizen have to pack up and move to a country that they don't know?
Because their parent absolutely entered the country illegally, had a child knowing he was in the country illegally, so he created that crisis.
Well, I mean, I think that was well said. I mean, what boggles my mind is that, and I'll let you come on this, but I want to have a statement on that real quick, is that they were complaining about the child separation thing, but now they're complaining about kids going with their parents, and their parents choose to take them with them when they get deported. So it's just like, which one is it? I don't know.
Well, I'll refer back to another statement that he said. When someone like me or you or any American citizen breaks the law, we don't preach against separation then when we go to jail and those kids are either separated and placed into foster homes or have to go elsewhere. When you break the law, you have to pay for it. And I'm not famous for the saying yet, but I'll say it publicly soon. The only right that you should have after breaking into this country is the right to remain silent. I mean, it is absurd that you can break into this country and have the Second Amendment before a felon does. And I'm not defending felons, but people who have committed crimes, made mistakes, or did something on purpose and now has a felony record, they don't have the Second Amendment right.
Right.
They have to fight for housing. They have to fight for jobs. They have to fight for just basic human rights. So what makes you better than the average felon? I didn't even know that it wasn't a serious crime to break into this country until the Biden administration. I went against Trump when he first ran. I was like, oh my God, I voted for Biden. And that was one of the worst mistakes that I could have ever done. I mean, the absolute worst. You mean to tell me that you can break into this country and you can get stuff like Social Security? But when I applied for Social Security for my son who has autism, I was automatically denied. Why? Because I decided to get into real estate. If you own a property that you do not live in, you're automatically disqualified from things like Social Security.
Wow.
Automatic, and it's me who owns the property. The property wasn't in my son's name,
Yeah.
and he's the one that has the disability. But you mean to tell me that people can hop over our border, get things like Social Security, housing? And in Fort Worth, we have an 8-year housing wait list. You can get things like Social Security, housing, food stamps, Medicare, Medicaid, everything that our community is deprived of. And I'm not advocating for welfare. That's a whole nother conversation, a whole nother crippling conversation that we can have. But you mean to tell me that you take pride, Democrats take pride in not prioritizing American citizens? We have people in my neighborhood who desperately need those resources that are automatically denied, but we prioritize and we incentivize people to break into our country. And I'm called xenophobic or racist. No. Before Trump got in office, we had over 160 countries currently invading our border. And some of the people look like me. So it's not racist, it's not xenophobic. I'm a patriot. But because I'm Black, because I don't look like I'm a Republican or conservative, I can't be a patriot. A Black woman or a Black man saying that they are a patriot is unheard of. It's unheard of. I get called all kind of names just for standing up for what's right.
It's sad. It really shouldn't be that way. I mean, it's the days of just listening to somebody talk with opposing views and having an open conversation, days are gone. Now it's like, oh, if you're a Trump supporter, if you're a Republican, conservative, and you're a Black or Hispanic person, actually anybody for that matter, you're automatically a racist. You're Uncle Tom. I've been called Uncle Tom, and I've been called kind of names. I have a family member who called me Uncle Tom, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I mean, it's sad that. Oh gosh, I can only imagine what you deal with.
No,
your family.
They wouldn't like you, man.
They know to leave politics alone when it comes to me. Like I have one conservative or two conservative family members, but the rest of them, they know we don't. That's one rule that we have. We do not talk about politics, and I respect that. Because if not, I probably am going to offend you in your ignorance. But I'm not necessarily trying to offend you. I want you to wake up. Just like I want the Black community and the brown community in general to wake up. But the thing is, with the brown community, I've seen more people being open to conservatism in comparison to the Black community. I've had more Hispanics tell me that they see the defects or the disadvantages of an open border in their neighborhood. Like I can't count on both hands. When I ran for Congress, knocking on doors, they'll say, oh, the people across the street are illegal. And they say things like, if things go bad here, we could just move back to my house, in my country. And as a real estate investor, I'm like, kudos to you owning more than one property. But as an American, I'm saddened because just because you have options outside of this country doesn't give you the right to trash these neighborhoods. And a lot of the Black community, we made jokes, or they made jokes about what a Black job is, after that one debate.
Yeah.
You can sit here and laugh about what a Black job is all you want. And I mentioned that in my conservative speech, but it's not just Black jobs. It's Black schools. Because when illegal immigrants come here, they're not going to gated communities that have HOA. It's Black schools, it's Black jobs, it's Black housing, it's Black resources. I mean, the fact that you're able to own a property in America without citizenship is just absurd. I mean, I'm not trying to trash anybody on it fighting for a better life, but I'm America first before America first was even a thing. American resources belong to Americans. I don't care what race you are.
Yeah, and it's like the very people that Democrats say they are for, Black community, this and that they advocate for, are the very people that they're hurting with illegal immigration. So yeah, that's
right.
An excellent point.
But they listen to people like Jasmine.
A city council race in Fort Worth got heated. Video from a debate last night shows two candidates getting in each other's faces. That conflict involved incumbent councilmember Chris Nettles and Peyton Jackson, a candidate who is running to take his place in District 8. Fox 4's Dion England is live with details. Dion.
Hi there, Clarice. It was indeed a candidate forum, and now the fallout after that physical altercation involving police reports.
In fact,
A community forum out of control.
These debates, these forums, they get heated. But I never touched him initially. He touched me first.
City Council candidate Peyton Jackson is challenging District 8 incumbent Chris Nettles.
I think I acted appropriately by standing up.
A viewer shared the video with Fox 4. Jackson, during a response, places in front of Nettles what she says is a lawsuit she's filed against him. It goes south from there. You were there.
I was there.
Were you shocked?
I was definitely shocked.
Citizen Jessica Gomez recorded a different angle.
I stand up and I did like this.
Both Nettles and Jackson say they have filed police reports in the matter. You can see when we spoke to Jackson, she is wearing a holstered firearm. Prior to the forum, she was asked to give up her firearm and was only wearing the holster.
If I'm in your personal space and you really feel in danger, back up. Back up. I would never put my hands on anybody. Not initially.
And as she approached me, I stand up and to protect myself, to make sure that she doesn't do anything while I'm sitting down. So I think it's good to have a good debate and a good conversation, but violence is not the answer.
It just made a spectacle of the race now.
Business owner Arthur McCoy is another Nettles challenger in the race. He participated in the same forum. However, his stand on the issues Thursday night overshadowed by this.
Let's pay attention to District 8 as a whole. Let's pay attention to District 8 about the homeless. Let's pay attention to District 8 about the infrastructure, and not make a spectacle of this.
Interesting stuff right there. Yeah. So what prompted that whole thing? Like we just saw you walk up. We didn't know what happened before that. So I just want your take on that situation.
So right before that, well, I would encourage everyone to go, if you have a copy of the full video, to go and watch the entire 38-ish minutes, where I was receiving threats very early on from the intro. But right before that incident, I was giving him the cover page to a lawsuit that I had filed earlier that day in regards to him colluding with my landlord. When you run for office, your address is not redacted like incumbents. Why they only redact addresses of incumbents, I do not know. But unless you're an officer or have some special purpose, your address is public. And one fault of the media, every single interviewer or every single reporter that I spoke to, they took out that piece of my interview. I said, if anything, I hope that this raises awareness that we need to begin redacting the addresses of everyone, not just incumbents, because we have people like Chris Nettles. You don't sit down in a back office meeting, go behind the city's back, and have a meeting with the landlord of your opponent. That's a clear conflict of interest. But even if it was just a meeting that happened, why, when the second that my name was brought up, my landlord should have exited the meeting. That did not happen. Pieces of my lease was disclosed to my political opponent. So I filed a lawsuit against him, any third parties, and my landlords. All I was supposed to do was set that cover page down, and you can see me on the video back up and say, hey, I'll see you all at the polls, but I'll see him in court. That's how it was supposed to go. It did not go that. It did not go that way. Now, in his interview with Dion, he said that he stood up as I began to walk up. That's not true. If you go back and you watch the video, I set the piece of paper down, I back up, then he stands up and begins talking. Then that's when I walked up with my hands behind my back. The second I felt some type of pressure on my stomach, I looked down, my head is literally dropped in the camera. Once I confirmed that it was his hand or his arm, I immediately reacted. Now, from that incident, he is now walking around with police escort. And another fault of the media between Dion and another reporter, his name is Scoop, they made it a big deal that I open carry. I am a Texan. I am an American. I open carry everywhere. I open carry in the police department. I could, because I legally can, I open carry when I block walk. I open carry literally anywhere. And that didn't stem from Chris Nettles. I ran for office last year, in the last couple of years, where I was not only attacked by a dog, but I ran into a man that didn't know how to take no for an answer. So none of my open carry-ness has to do with Chris Nettles, even though I think it's imperative that we acknowledge the fact that he not only tagged someone's car with a GPS, he literally is on camera trying to put a hit out on someone. So yes, he is a dangerous man. Am I scared of him? No, I know that he is very weak and very emotional.
The third guy, he said he's a business owner. Do you know anything about that?
His name is Arthur McCoy. He seems pretty cool. We share some of our values in a similar light. I wish he was a little bit more vocal, but had he put his name on the ballot before me, I probably would have just stayed out of the race. Like I mentioned before, Nettles went unopposed last time, and it's not because he was doing a good job. For whatever reason, the community is scared to challenge someone like him. And I mean, after the deal with my landlord, I kind of get it, but I'm not from Fort Worth. I'm not even from Texas. So the fact that I'm willing to stand up and stick my neck out for a community that I was not born in, or anything like that, and I'm fairly new to, it speaks volumes in comparison to the natives of this district, the natives of the city who live in District 8 that refuse to challenge someone like Nettles. I get the whole collusion with the landlord thing, and I get the fear behind that. But at what point in time do we stand up to politicians like this? At what point in time do we have a backbone? Now with McCoy, I asked him why he didn't run against him last time, and he had a family situation that he wanted to work on. But my question to the rest of the community: what stopped you? Because it's not like he kept any major promises. I mean, in 2021, the biggest thing that Nettles spoke on was a grocery store, another Walmart for the area, but also a skating rink. I felt the need to go skating the other day, and I can't do it in District 8 because we don't have a skating rink, and that's something that he promised. And I know it's small, but if you go back to his 2021 campaign promises and you compare them to what's being done by 2025, very little, especially when it comes to the homeless population.
Yeah, definitely issues that need to be addressed. Wow. Yeah, I mean, if you run on something, and then you should take swift, bold action to get it done. If you get put in the office, we see what Trump is doing. He got elected, so he's taking swift, bold action to get things done despite the forces against him. So, and I think you will be I think you would be the type of person that would do that. Like you said, you think we'll have a very low approval rating because of the action that you were going to take, which is not the easy thing to do.
No, no.
It's easy to just sit back. Yeah.
Especially when it comes to the homeless population or improving our education, if elected, within 60 days, you're going to see a huge change in the homeless population. But once school is back in session this upcoming fall, if I'm elected, we're going to increase those scores while at the same time protesting STAR. I do not agree with STAR, but when it comes to literacy, these kids have to know how to read. I mean, again, outside of basic math and reading, we're wasting our time, but reading is the huge segment of that. These kids have to know how to read, if anything. If anything,
Yep.
they have to know how to read. So within 60 days with the homeless population and within a year in regards to our grade level students.
Okay. So that brings us to, when do you plan to announce your run for Congress, and who will take over that seat? Do you know anything, or do you have any plans for that?
So if I am unsuccessful in this the city council race, which the election day is May 3rd, by May 4th, if not before then, I will announce my run again for U.S. House District 33 to unseat Mark Beasy.
Okay, very good. And if you do win city council, then you would, because it's a 2-year term, right?
It's a
Every
2-year term.
Okay.
It's a 2-year term, and Congress is up for re-election next year in 2026. So if I am successful in this run, I will wait at least 2 terms. Although I don't want to, because Congress was my plan A.
Yeah.
I want to show the city of Fort Worth that I don't need 3 terms or 4 terms or 5 terms to actually make some real change in the city of Fort Worth. I extremely believe that we need term limits, not just in the city of Fort Worth like they have in Dallas, but also in Congress. We don't need career politicians. We need people who are serious about doing the job, getting it done, and passing the torch.
That's impressive that you say that, because you don't plan to be in the same position for 50, 60 years. So you want to get yeah.
I have the personality as an accountant. That's what my background is in. I have my bachelor's in accounting. I have the personality of an accountant. I'm a very solution-driven person. I don't care about the pictures. I don't care about the optics. I'm very blunt with my policy and my personality. I just want to provide the solution, sustain it, and keep it moving. There's no reason. I'm not in this for a title. I don't care about titles. I never needed one.
That's good. Well, we hope you're successful on all fronts of that level, because we like what we're hearing. We want to see change here in DFW. We want to see things get done in the state level, local, state, and all the way to the national level. So you sound like a person of action who is going to get things done. So we're going to wrap this up a little bit over, but I do want to ask you a question. If you had to spend an hour with anybody in history, on a bench, and talk to them, who would it be?
Outside of God?
Yes.
Someone like Barbara Jordan. And Barbara Jordan was a Democrat that went against Democrat values when it comes to an open border. And I learned that by this organization called Numbers USA, and the book that they have, Back of the Hiring Line. They taught me a lot about how mass immigration affects the Black and Brown community. So the fact that she was willing to stick out her neck against the Democrat Party, and shortly, right after her death, she realized that she had traitors in Congress, and they voted against her bill in 1996, which was the year that I was born. I would love to sit down and have that conversation with her to see what kind of backlash that she felt and how she was able to deal with that, because I'm a strong person. And I kind of put up this facade and this wall. A lot of people don't think that what it said affects me, and for the most part it doesn't, because I validated myself before I decided to put myself on any type of ballot. But you should see the hate messages that I wake up to, the emails, the messages, the comment sections, only because I stand in what I believe in instead of just following the crowd. I would love to see how they dealt with that, because I know I'm not the first Black conservative or brown conservative, just to see how they were able to blaze the trail that they did for me.
All of your endeavors with your run, with the election coming up this Saturday. I know it's been a lot for you. And then if you're not successful, we look forward to hearing your announcement for an even bigger position. So we'd love to have you on again if you're open to it at some point. So, yeah, and good. And yeah, well, any closing statements you have?
No, on May 3rd, I suggest you all pick the third choice, making the first the last, because the last shall be first, and vote Jackson. But if I am unsuccessful in this race for City Council District 8, I understand that a lot has happened since my announcement. I want you all to consider that this is my announcement to run again, yet again, for U.S. House District 33 to unseat Mark Vesey. Thank you.
All right, guys, you heard it right there. Let me, this is Big Russ with West Virginia Wire. I am filling in for the Queen this afternoon, and I am going to try to put a bow on this live. Let me see if I can figure out how to get myself to where you guys can see me. I think I have to stop sharing. There I am. Right there. Hope you can see me. But anyway, that was an all-exclusive interview with the Mixed Texan Report with Miss Peyton Jackson. And she will be running for city council in the 8th district of the state of Texas. The voting starts Saturday, May the 3rd. And so if you live in that area, in that district, get out and vote for her. If you watch that interview, you will see that she is who she is, and she's very transparent, which is a good thing. We need more of that in politics today, no matter what level they're at. But great interview there. Before that, there was we went through some of the things that we've gone over the last couple of weeks as far as West Virginia news. My wife has been doing multiple stories about throughout West Virginia, keeping up with West Virginia politics and other news stories. And she will be getting into the first 100 days of our governor, Patrick Morrisey, here very soon. She'll have a video coming out on that. So stay tuned for that. And like I said, I'm just going to wrap this up. I know it's been a long live, so I am going to wrap things up, but I did want to just mention real quick, we've got our sponsor with Trinot Health Products, and I just want to give my own personal testimony on these products. Right now, I am on the what they call the Daily Health System. That's the Transform, the Activate, and the Enrich. I've been on them for about, I don't know, maybe 2-3 weeks now, and they have got me feeling amazing. This is the Activate. It's a delicious drink. I drink a couple of these a day. It really helps with the energy boost, helping me control cravings for sweet stuff or junk food late in the afternoon, post-afternoon crashes from working all day, anything like that. So if you feel fatigued every day and you're looking for a change, let me know. Drop something in the comments. I can get you some information on these products that have helped me basically be a new person. I sleep better at night. I wake up not tired, not groggy, in a better mood. I get to work. I'm way more productive, way more focused. And it all has to do with just a few subtle changes. I haven't really changed anything with my diet. I don't exercise on a regular basis. All I did was started taking some of these supplements that were I was talked to from some other people, and they recommended that I try them, and I went out and tried them, and they are definitely working for me. And so that's why we bought into it, started our own business with it, and we promote it through our channel here. And we're going to continue to recommend these in order not just to help ourselves, but to help each and every person that might be struggling with the same exact things that we are. And I can't speak enough on it. Just in the first 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm somebody that's been on medication for years, and I felt so bad on the medication that had been prescribed to me that I just didn't want to do it anymore. So I stopped taking all those medications. Then I started even feeling even worse, and I needed a change in my life. And this is something that I didn't feel like was going to be too hard to do. So I jumped on it, started taking it. And like I said, without any additional exercises or major diet changes, it's already improved my blood pressure. It's already improved my A1C levels. It's already improved my energy levels, pain, body aches and pains at night, sleepless nights. All that has been improved just in the last few weeks with these products. They have products that are catered to both men and women, products that are catered specifically for men in some cases and specifically for women in some cases. It just depends on where you are in your own life and health journey. So please leave a comment in the comment section, and I will be glad to get some information out there for you, because it's all about helping other people. It's not just about helping ourselves. So with that being said, thank you for tuning in to this live today, and stay tuned to our channel as we continue to grow, continue to put out content that we hope that you enjoy. So if there's something that you would like us to cover that within the state of West Virginia specifically, please let us know that. We would love to cover some stuff. We are trying to learn as much as we can, as we are fairly new to the state ourselves. So thanks again, and we will be in touch this week, or at least first of next week, with some new videos, new content coming out on our great state. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. God bless.
Rise and shine. It's a brand new day. Got the world on my mind. Ain't no time to play. Chasing dreams, running fast, feeling no delay. We're the watchdogs, always watching what they say. Eyes wide open, we're taking what's ours. Breaking through the silence, aiming for the stars.